it didn't have the flow of his. It was like I said. I think it was on his downward slide. Um,
It's downward incline.
Oh, don't do that. No, don't do that, yo.
but
I know you know what I'm talking about.
if I look at the song names, I'll look them up right now. I'm sure I'll be able to remember. But
God,
what's up, people? What's up, Donnie? First in the chat.
my heart.
So just talking Ludacris.
Oh man,
Luda.
It was
How his career went on the downward incline.
shut up. Shut up.
dang. I can't. Judging by these names, it's not jumping out.
If it was
at me.
on the radio, it has to be. You heard it on the radio?
I bet I know what it is. I
It
just can't
wasn't
think of the name.
rollout. It was
No, that's still early.
pimping all over the
bigger
world.
ones.
Maybe.
That's a little.
No, that's an
later.
early one. That's 2000.
I wouldn't call that.
2004. Yeah.
You talking about probably from the last 10 years, probably.
God, what one? I have to listen to him now because
My chick bad, my chick good.
it could be 1 Minute Man. I don't know that song.
I
By
don't
name?
know that
Oh,
one.
he's just he's just an extra in that for Missy, isn't he?
Yeah,
Is he even in there?
Could have been Growing Pains.
it could have been off of the. Is it Ludaversal? Is the album I'm thinking of, or fucking? Hold on.
Only growing
Might
pains.
Pea
I know is
Poppin'?
Now
London
you
Chase
got
Fox.
me
Pea
looking
Poppin'?
this shit up.
Maybe it was Pea Poppin'. Let me listen.
This is what we do.
Look up
This is what
Ludacris
we-
album.
Yeah. What's up? Just wait for people to jump in. Got Lenny.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
we got Eric.
The newest, the last album he did was Ludaversal, so I'm guessing it has to be.
Yeah, it wasn't this one, whatever. This isn't the one I even clicked on. But anyway. What's going on, everybody? We're back. Robert's not back again.
He's sleeping.
He's sleeping because he said he's feeling like he's coming down with something. So,
He's sleeping. I'm putting him to sleep.
you know, he's got to manage his time a little better, right, T? Wouldn't you say, Robert? Time management? Oh, he
no,
froze.
Frozen.
I thought he was just really playing it.
Oh, talk about time management. Shit. Come on.
I thought he was playing me for a second.
No.
What's up, Matthew? Yeah, Lenny. Merry
That's right.
Christmas to
Time
everybody.
management.
Yeah, you're pausing, T. Your camera be
You got
pausing.
froze in the void for a sec.
I'm pausing. I'm looking at you guys freezing up.
Yeah,
my
it's on your
Zelda
end.
Christmas mug.
Nice.
I got the
He
same one
goes
as
through
like.
all the ages.
Nice.
I got my Baby
my
Yoda
camera-
Legos put together. That was pretty easy,
I think the
actually.
camera doesn't like the LEDs, maybe.
Is hating on them LEDs, man. That's why.
Probably.
Those light emitting diodes.
So yeah, Christmas came and went. We got New Year Saturday. New Year will be the New Year.
Yeah. Yeah, Saturday.
And 2022 is looking promising for games. But yeah, I'm gonna start us off with a little what have I beaten and started. So I beat a game and I started 2 games, and I was talking to Collected about it. I was pulling them as a T. I have Forza Horizon to play. I'd get and download Psychonauts, but no, I was playing an old PS3 game through the PS4 remaster of Uncharted. I was playing the first Uncharted and I ended up beating it. That's some janky ass game right there.
It's so bad you beat it again, huh?
I never played it before, so I started it a while ago, and I was like, you know what? I was on like chapter 7. I was like, I'll just play this. It's I didn't have a disc in the PS5. I was like, I got that digitally, so I'll just, what the hell? And in 3 sessions I finished it. But I will say I was trying to fight the camera and I was getting nauseous, like dizzy, because the camera's like auto turns constantly, and I'm trying to turn the camera, so I'm like fighting. It took me a while to get used to that, but I see why it's not regarded as the best. It's pretty jank, even the remastered version.
Yeah, it's sponge super hella bullet spongy. God
And
damn.
the guys can hit you as soon as you step out. You're getting shot.
Oh yeah, you're hit.
But it was enjoyable enough. It's definitely a video game. It's of the early 7th gen. It has promise, but lots of jank in the controls, and just swinging from the vines. Like I did the exact same jump 5 times, and the first 5 times he just falls, and finally on the 6th attempt, he jumps to the ledge, and I was like about to start looking, getting on YouTube looking at what I had to do. I'm like, this is an Uncharted game, you don't have to figure out where to go. I've never had to look to see where I had to go before, but I was like, this has to be wrong because it's not working. But so
I feel like I'm playing like a whole different game. I feel like I'm the only person in the world who doesn't think those games are like really jank or anything.
That's the most jank third-person shooting game I think I've ever played. Like it's like N64 had, less janky shooters, like third-person shooters. It just, I don't know, man.
Well, that's bullshit. It had less janky ones because it just had less games.
Yeah, that's true. But man, I was having trouble just aiming, just moving the camera. I was just, it was an event. It was an enjoyable experience. Frustrating at times, swearing a couple times at some of the bullshit. But I was like, I'm gonna beat this game. I'm close. And
he was looking at you, win back.
And then I started Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, for the very first time, and I got through the 4th chapter. And
it's the most polished one.
Yeah, I don't know I don't remember what people were complaining about, or people said they didn't like about it, so I don't know. But I didn't love being young Nathan. I've done that so many times in these games now with Tomb Raider, and Uncharted 4 did that. And there's a bit of it's a bit slower in the beginning, but I'm gonna finish that one just so I can say I beat them all.
I never understood the obsession with it, to making you play as, in some of these games as the younger version of the character, like a particular story mode. Like you mentioned Tomb Raider, and literally the start of Tomb Raider Revelations is you as she's like 15 years old and she's with some archaeologist guy, and you're having to play her then over this team. You're absolutely fucking useless. It's just
anyway. I had to do that in Guardians of the Galaxy when I was playing that. They make you play as young Star-Lord.
Yeah, that whole trope needs to go in gaming, and that needs to die.
I can't remember if it did it in the first 2 Tomb Raiders, but definitely did it in Shadow, and there was one spot where I just stuck. You had to climb up this lattice.
I'm in the manor house and stuff. I was just like, why is this here? Why am I this baby lava doing this shit? You can't die. I tried to kill her. I'm like, you can't kill her. You can't die.
Why are you trying to kill her?
Pointless.
Why are you trying to kill her? That's
because I hated it. I wanted it to end, Terrell. I wanted it to end.
Clocked it. You can't enjoy big lore without acknowledging little lore.
I don't mind it.
At least that one had a puzzle to solve, but in Uncharted 3, it's just I'm just following Sully and running.
I'll make you. I'd just make you good. Make you awesome. Like Link in Ocarina of Time, where you're just a small Link and you can still do backflips and wield a sword and a shield and all that shit.
Make it part of the actual game instead of some little side thing.
It just feels like filler. It almost feels like
I thought the whole point was for it to be like a break from the main game. That's what I always thought. I took it.
We need a break. I want to enjoy my game.
I'm at where Juice is also in the 2nd chapter in Uncharted 3. The main game hasn't even started yet.
Well, I got back to where I was bigging, and then I was like, all right, that's all I wanted to get through was that shit. Yeah, when do we get young Samus as Laker Link? Hopefully never.
Never.
Maybe some story stuff, but yeah.
Well, we pretty much got it in over M when you couldn't do anything. Sorry, Samus, you're not allowed to use your gun.
Or the slow walking.
There you go. That's it right there.
Batman slow walk talking.
Yeah, when he gets
that was the best looking part of the game, though. I mean, that was a really high quality Samus model.
I did like the look of those.
Because you couldn't do anything. It's almost like
right. It could focus on that one little spot.
But yeah, Uncharted 3, like I might as well keep playing it. And then I think I messed with it a little bit before the podcast last week, but I went a good chunk of Forza Horizon 5 now. Xbox app doesn't tell me how much I've played it, but I feel like I played it 3 hours on my Xbox and probably another 3 or 4 on PC. So I would say I'm between 6 to 8. And I mean, it's phenomenal, just like the 4th game was. And I'm really enjoying it. The only thing, T, I got to get your account your Xbox gamertag or something, because the only person that shows me my stats against is Derek Steelfox, who probably looks like he only played it maybe once or twice, because all his stats are. I didn't. It only shows him on my friends list as someone who's played the game, because every time I find a new road, it shows my numbers versus Derek Steelfox, and like I said,
maybe it's because I'm hiding.
Could be.
Maybe because I'm.
Because that's one of the. I think that's
every time I jump on, a certain person starts
yeah.
bothering me, and I'm like, God damn, bro.
Hiding your game times exposed. Ooh.
I wonder because
I'm hiding myself as being online and shit. So maybe
why don't you just remove this person or block them? I don't know.
I'm trying to be nice.
You're so benevolent. You're so benevolent, Mr. T.
So,
thank you, Mr. T, sir, for being so benevolent.
I will say it's been three years since Forza Horizon 4, and I mean it's a phenomenal game, polished and stuff. But I almost feel like it needs to be more like the Mario Kart franchise, where it's one per generation. And this was the fourth one to come to Xbox One, even though the 2 was cross-gen and 5 is cross-gen. It's technically the fourth game since 2013. And I kind of feel like if Forza Horizon 6 comes out in 2 years, I don't think I'm going to be ready to play it, just because it's been 3 years, and I'm feeling a little bit of I want to say fatigue, but yeah, I've been here, done that with some of the aspects of Forza Horizon 5, even though the settings different. It still feels very similar.
Introduced like some nice storm stuff in this one as well that changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, the coolest addition is the progression, where you have the map, and basically Horizon's a event, and there's people who are running it. And so in the other games, you just had the one hub, the Horizon Festival hub. In this one, there's like side missions, if you will. One I posted where I was went up the volcano, then I jumped, came back, and entered a race for like 2 laps or 1 lap. And that, after I did that, the festival opened up around the volcano. And so now there's events there, and then there's 2 or 3 other areas, and you can upgrade those with new that give you new races and stuff as you do these side missions, if you will. So that part of it's really cool, and I'm a sucker for like driving on every road. So when you have the map, you have the roads, but they're like light grayed out, and as you drive over them, you can tell where you've been. They become white. And
so it's a bit like they're like clearing the fog.
Yeah, I got obsessed with that in Forza Horizon 4 after the fact. So now I'm doing it as I'm going. So I'm like, oh, I got a little bit of that road. I might as well drive over there. And it's nice because you end up finding things to do, and I don't have any kind of like destination, so I don't have the arrow, which I can turn off that arrow thing on the ground. But it's nice sometimes just to drive around. I found the volcano, drove up that without any guide. And honestly, if someone put me in charge of like coming up with the genre that this game is, I would honestly call it an open air adventure driving RPG. That's how I would describe the Forza Horizon series currently. And I mean, you can level up different traits in each car you drive, your character. You unlock new races when those races unlock new things, and then there's side races and event stuff, and plus live events happening. You can go wait by a certain spot, and a bunch of real people will be all of a sudden thrust into an event, and you'll find out what it is as soon as it starts, and everybody's rushing to complete it and get first. So it's really cool. But like I said, my one complaint would be they need to slow down on the releases, because I just feel like this, just like Mario Kart, I wouldn't want a new Mario Kart game every 2 to 3 years. I think it would be better as a once per generation, maybe twice, maybe early gen and then late gen. I think it would, for me, like I said, I don't know.
Just Mario Kart DLC, that's what worked so well with 8 when it came out,
Yeah, so I don't know that I want Forza Horizon 6 and 7 and then, before this generation's over. I just think maybe that would be too many. And if you
take your time. With
if
the
you
next
made it a
ones.
little less, little longer in between releases, it would have that much
impact.
more excitement. But people are
I mean-
enjoying the game, and if it's your first one, you're gonna probably feel like I did with the last one. But with this one, it's like, yeah, this is cool, but it's very more of the same, but all really well polished. I haven't encountered any issues.
Well, that-
I was gonna buy an
The
older
thing-
one, but I was quite tempted to try XCloud. I haven't looked into it
It
too
works.
much to see
Once I figured out my
how it works.
internet
But
connection,
after you said it was all right, I was like, maybe that's an option for me just to have a blast. Because you get Game Pass Ultimate or something, don't you? And then you can get XCloud with that, and then you can just stream some stuff, right? So that'd be simple for me to do on my laptop with no, compatibility issues or anything like.
yeah, I haven't seen the option to stream it on PC. Let me bring this up. Let me go to the Game Pass tag. This has been really laggy. I don't know, the Xbox app's been really laggy for me.
If you want a Mario Kart every generation, the Switch better still get one, because I ain't counting that 8-year-old garbage.
Yeah.
We're not doing this.
How about, man? We got Mario Kart.
Let me see.
Mario Kart Tour.
A lot of people are playing Forza right now
God.
that have never played a
That's
Forza.
what I'm saying. I saw a
Mhm.
lot of people. Like, I was surprised Derek Steelfox was on the list of like people who I was getting compared to my accomplishments in the game. Like, man, he
There's
would
a
never
reason
play that.
for that. It's called Game Pass. So
Well,
Game Pass does make people play stuff, or at least allow them to
he
play
tried
stuff they
it.
probably
I will
would
say,
never
I came back a few days later. Maybe he'll come back to it, but yeah, you can't. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't have an option to stream on PC though. Clock. You might have to like try to buy a used Xbox One or something. You said something about a Series S that you could have got a good deal on. I forgot to comment to that. You probably should have done that.
I probably should have, but did it to the end. So.
So while we're out, I'll finish up by saying I tried the cloud. I don't know what was going on. My Xbox hadn't been my Xbox hadn't been plugged in like 4 months. So I plugged it in, I updated it, and then I just immediately tried to stream it. And I was like, it was so choppy. I was like, oh shit. I had the Ethernet plugged in, but it was on Wi-Fi. So what the hell? So I go to the options, and you have to disable Wi-Fi, and then it went to the LAN. So then I tried to play, and it was worse. It played even worse when I recorded it and put it on Twitter. Like, this is garbage. Like, what the hell? I did a speed test, and it says it's getting 9 megabytes per second. So I turned it off. I plugged the cable into the PS5, and it was like 107 megabytes. So I was like, all right, so it's not the cable. Well, my dad had bought an Xbox 2 years ago, thinking his grandkids would play it, and I told him I could sell it for him, so I grabbed it. Just happened to have it. I was like, well, let me plug this one in, and it was showing 200 and something megabytes download. So I tried the cloud, and I was like, it's not bad. So I go, let me install it to the Xbox One S, and then I played it that way for about an hour and a half, and I was like, it looks decent. It's 30 frames per second. But it looks okay. The pop-in is pretty bad, but I was like, well, let me try streaming again. So I hooked my other Xbox back up, or my Xbox, and it was getting perfect connection. And literally I put it on performance mode, and it was such a stark difference to the native 30. It doesn't look much better, but it was definitely 60. I played for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like, I didn't plan on, thought I was done playing. And I was like, man, this actually works really good. It depends on your connection. If your connection is bad, then your experience is gonna be bad. So it's not gonna be something you could maybe rely on all the time. But I was perfectly happy playing it that way at 60 on the 1S. Just happens to be I got an offer that I couldn't refuse for selling my Xbox. So I did that. So now I don't have that option anymore. Now I have to play it on PC. So
You keep getting these offers and shit.
dude, I sold my dad's, and in 5 minutes I had an offer for 200, and his didn't have the box. Looks like somebody had dropped it. The front had a little in the white, like the bottom of the white on the front, just under the disk drive. There was a gouge, and then it was black, and I could not clean it. There's nothing. I even tried scraping it with a needle. Couldn't get it clean. So I listed it, took the photo. I said, this thing's barely been used. And Goose like, 150? I was like, I literally just listed it. 175? Well, I'll give you 200. If you just agree right now, I'll give you 200. Like, I didn't even counter offer. So, so I was like, all right, well, he's like, well, I got burned. I just bought one and it ended up not working. So can you show it working? So I recorded it. And he goes, well, I'm going to go to the CD exchange. I got to get the rest of the money. How quickly can you meet me there? I was like, why don't you tell me what? I said, I got screwed a couple times. Why don't you tell me or send me a photo when you have $200 cash, and then I'll come meet you. So like 20 minutes goes by. I'm like, dude, I got literally had 5 other people wanting this thing. And I go, I gave you 5 more minutes. He's like, he takes me a photo. He's got all these movies and games stacked up on the counter. He's just trying to figure out what I'm going to get. I'm definitely going to have enough though. It's like, well, show me. So like 2 minutes later, he takes a photo or video and says, yeah, here you go. So I go meet him there, and dude don't look like he's got a pot to piss in, but he was so happy to get this Xbox.
Jeez.
And so I told him, I was like, this thing I guarantee you has less than 50 hours of use. He's like, are you kidding? I was like, no. And he's like, oh man, well thanks, and hands me the money, and then a lady messaged me.
Thanks.
And I'm like,
you sound skeevy as fuck.
I was just like, dude, enjoy. And so a lady's messaged me. She's like, I was like, this kid's already buying it. I said, I do have another one that's mine. I have the original box, and it's visually in better condition. I didn't mention how much more use I had on it. And I said, I'll throw in 2 rechargeable battery packs, like maybe 320. And she's like, well, I could do 310. And I'm like, I didn't make. I should have just said, but let me tell you the story because this gets a little complicated. So I'm like, I don't know if I really want to sell it. And then a dude hits me up, and he's like, I was like, I already have an off. Well, I actually posted it because I wanted to have an official listing. And he goes, is this still available? I was like, I already kind of agreed to sell it for 310. And he's like, oh, well, let me know if it falls through. And well, 4 hours went by. I didn't hear from her the next day. And I'm like, are you still interested? And she didn't reply. So I said, you know what? I said, how interested are you? He's like, I got 350 right now. I'll meet you. Where you? And I was like, I told him where we were going to meet, Walmart parking lot. And about 10 minutes later,
Walmart parking lot.
He's like, dude, big accident. Traffic's completely stopped. They're rerouting us, which is like an extra 10, 15 minutes to go around because there's a river and there's only 2 access points across this river. And he's like, I'm still in traffic. I'm still in traffic. Just wanting to let you know I'm not standing you up. Well, then the lady messaged me. She goes, because I had said, hey, are you still interested? Because I got a guy offering me $350. She goes, yeah, I'm still interested, and no, you're not selling it to anybody else. And I'm like, I was like, jeez. I'm like, what? I said, I didn't hear from you for 4 hours. I said, the dude already picked it up. I lied to her because I didn't want to argue with her. And she goes, you agreed to sell it to me, blah, blah. I already had planned on it. I had the money. And I said, well, leave me a bad review. I don't care. 5 minutes later, the dude's like, I hate to do this to you, but he's like, well, I was waiting for traffic. I found an Xbox One X for the same price. And he's like, I got to go get it. He goes,
damn.
And I said, dude, I just told this lady that it was already sold. And so I was like, what am I going to do? Because I got to try to sell this.
You're the worst seller on
Facebook
Marketplace.
So I get on, I wait about 10 minutes. And because he told me actually before he told me he changed his mind. He's like, well, if she's buying it for a kid for Christmas, he's like, don't worry about me, sell it to her. And I was like, well, I was kind of mad at the way she talked to me about. So I said, fuck it, forget her. So then he leaves me hanging. I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? I guess I'll just wait. Well, I was like, you know what? I'm going to message her. I'm going to lie. I'm going to say, yeah, I threw a message back to the guy saying your situation. He said, if you're giving it to a kid for Christmas, he'll bring it back. And I still had it sitting there. So she's like, well, that was the plan.
Are you watching, lady? This guy is a shyster.
She's like, that was the plan. And I'm like, well, let me message him. He doesn't live that far away. If he brings it back, I'll send you a photo. That way, I have it. And then I'll sell it to you because, I said, it's the time of year. It was right before Christmas, like 2 days before Christmas. I said, it's the year of giving. So I was like,
and this motherfucker tried to use Christmas too.
I waited 10 minutes and I took a photo of it. I said, he actually brought it back. So if you want, she goes, I'm on the highway now. I'll meet you at Best Buy. So I get there. I'm thinking she's gonna be maybe bitch at me. She was so happy, and I was like, it's crazy. It worked out the way it worked out. She hands me. I told her just 300. She, forget the 10 or whatever. And she was so thrilled because I was the only one. I didn't realize that had it in the box, and she wanted to give it to her younger son as new, like try to trick him.
New thing. Yeah.
So,
you was
everybody being shady around.
Everybody's shady.
Well, I just literally, I just didn't want to argue. I just wanted to, it's gone, argument over. I wanted it to be done. And then when he backed out,
a very shady Christmas. That's what it should be called.
This is why I don't go on these marketplaces.
With all this shadiness, you might as well just call Juice Slim Shady.
Well, she ended up happy. I didn't get the 350 that the guy promised me, but I told him don't worry about it. I said, some kid got it for Christmas that's better off anyway. So, long story, but it ended up now I have 0 Xboxes, well, Xbox Ones.
Now what you gonna do?
And then to add the final layer to this, my buddy had given me that Xbox for Christmas in 2018.
That's bad business.
But he did tell me to return it and get a 1X back in the day, or sell it to get a 1X. So I was like, let me see. Do I tell him?
Did you get a 1X with it?
I didn't, but I told him. I said, "Dude, this I got." At the time, at the time, the dude offered me $350. I talked to him. I was like, "Dude offered me $350 for this thing." He's like, "I don't even know what I paid for it." I said, "I think there were $200 or $220 when he got him that Black Friday. He got it." I said, "I can't turn it down." I said, "I'll tell you what, I will only spend this money towards the Series X, which is the plan I have currently. That way,
Better hit up Robert and use his techniques.
We'll see. That's what I'm gonna say.
We'll see when one pops up. If I really, it might not be the first thing I buy, but I definitely will get one, and then that money will be towards it. So
you want to buy mine for $810?
I seen them on for $600. I seen a couple for $600 new. And the Series S, people were selling them for $250 because they must not have realized that they had been replenished and got stuck with them, because I seen a couple people trying to sell the Series S and they kept dropping the price. You can see the little slash in the new price.
So delicious seeing those prices.
And somebody had it for $250, and I'm like,
I should have grabbed one of them.
That's both people are messing me. I'm like, this is the 1S, that. This isn't the Series S. Well, I forget the Series S was digital only, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This is the disc one. The 1S has the advantage of being have the disc drive at least. So. It was I gave my dad the $200. He offered me $50 out of it. I was like, nah. I was like, I didn't want to take that because of everything I pulled. So I was like, I'm happy with the $300 I got for mine. And so that's my story. But Terrell, I know you beat a game.
I do want to put this in context. Juice's thing took more than the 30 minutes it would have took Robert to go through his own.
I know. That's true. Well, we got sidetracked with that story. We got sidetracked with that story.
No, I would hope mine won't take that long.
Put it in the book of receipts.
Do it.
That's why we record it for posterity.
Sorry, Robert. I took your slot and took the whole time. So
yeah, that's fine. I beat Guardians of the Galaxy last night. That's one of those games that I will openly say I think does a better job at handling its characters than I think the movies do. But the combat's like the worst thing about the game. Like, it's not bad.
I heard that.
But it's kind of
it made John Lenneman's was it number 3 or 2 on 2 on his list or something for his games of 2021. I was like, dang.
Look, it's one of those games
don't play no games.
It's somewhat carried by characters and story. If it was in the music selection is actually fucking great. If you're not,
it's a video game. The Marvel characters are amazing, but the game.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, that's literally where I was at with it. I'm like,
that's Marvel
better,
right there.
I'll put it this way: it's better than what I thought it would be. The thing, the way I rated it on Twitter is, if we were just talking about gameplay, it's like a 6 out of 10. The characters bump it up to somewhere around. I don't want to give it an 8. I don't want to give it an 8 because I don't feel like that's fair to it. It's realistically, it doesn't deserve it yet to me. If it had handled everything perfectly with the characters, I would have gave it like an 8 out of 10. but like gameplay wise, we ran into so many random issues where we were clipping through fucking walls and punching dudes that weren't there, but the animation would still happen. So you see a guy from like across the screen, he would fall over and go, ugh. But like I'm doing the uppercut like 5 feet away. I'm like, what the fuck are you hitting? Like,
yeah, cyberpunk levels of bullshit. Huh?
I wouldn't say the only time it got to that level is I got hit with an attack and it locked me into place. So I'm running, but I'm running in place. And then I died in the boss fight because the fucking game wouldn't let me actually move. So
God damn.
You're not selling this to us, man.
I wasn't trying to. I was not trying to at all. It's a game. It's one of those. Once you play it, you don't need to ever touch it again. And if you don't even care about
$15 to $20 purchase, wait for that.
Yeah,
Wait for that drop.
Or just watch the cutscenes on YouTube because I feel like that's the best part of the game.
Oh damn.
The best it is. The characters are the character moments are the best thing. If it wasn't for how good those moments are, I don't know. And it's hard because it's not like it's trash, because it has elements like it has different enemy types and enemies that have different weaknesses. So you have to use certain guns or certain combo attacks. There are things there, but it very much feels like, okay, cool, you got a good basis down. Now make it better for the next game. That's very much what it feels like. It's a decent stepping stone, but the next game will be miles better as long as they don't do no Avengers bullshit and ruin it.
Oof.
So, it's a step in the right direction, very much. But God, don't do that Avengers shit again.
I'll think about playing it.
No, you won't. What? Just
Well,
what?
it kind of just proves the gamer today, doesn't it? It's like, oh, this is people's best of list for the year, and the gameplay is so suspect.
I thought I was gonna put it on there. I doubt it's going to end up on my list now.
Yeah. I've seen it in a lot of people's like top 3.
It's a nice surprise after Avengers, but that's not saying a lot. That's the problem with it.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out though.
And then
well, it was $30. I almost thought about it.
As Rob would say, 7 out of 10. Hey, that's above average, man.
That's a good game. That's a good game.
That's a good game. So
Yeah, see, but the way
7 out of 10 is a good game.
it's got its merits. You know, to all players who completed it.
I'll put it this way: if I don't regret playing it,
3 points away from a perfect 10. So
nah,
right
well, that's because the grading system for modern gaming is fucked. A 7 out of 10 means something very different than what it used to. So it's cool. And then the other thing is, what else am I playing? Oh, Horizon. Still playing Horizon. That was the other one.
What's another thing you're playing, Dan? I see all these trophies of you dressing up girls and shit on PlayStation.
Wait, what? What am I
You're playing
Senra
something
Kagura.
on PlayStation. You're
No. Most of the trophies. No.
Is that Horizon?
Most of the trophies I got recently was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nah,
it probably was War Ends with You. I was playing that the other night too.
I don't know if it's that. I gotta remember. I can't.
That
I
way it
don't
might
know.
be because I was.
It says the game on it. It was something I never heard of and shit. But the trophy said like, "Oh, you dressed up your first girl or some shit like that."
That might be War Ends with You. That might be.
Was it was it hentai versus zombies? Whatever.
Wow!
You know what game I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's not versus zombies. It's versus something. I can't.
Was it the
remember.
DC girls?
It's terrible. It looks terrible.
The only 3 games I played on PlayStation was Guardians of the Galaxy, Horizon, and War Ends with You. I can't think of.
Maybe it's the World Ends with You.
It might be World Ends with You because I found out the game doesn't care about you putting girl clothes on guys, and it gives better stat buffs. So I said, "Fuck it." So that might. Be
it must be that.
That might be what it is. I don't fucking know.
The game's pushing agendas. I see.
That's woke.
Nah, they just don't give a shit.
You get stat buffs for wearing a dress.
Look, I'm not gonna get another one. According to Square, I'm probably not gonna get another game. I'm enjoying what I got. Damn it.
So Retro, I see you got a box art behind you. Did you actually start it yet or not?
Yeah, I started it today, man. Like Kena is one of the games I wanted for Christmas. I got 2 other games.
I didn't know it was physical yet.
I would like to get the physical.
Man.
I thought or does it come out later for us in the States?
Oh really? We've had it here for like a month already, I think.
Let me look.
It came with I
thought it came out later for Americans, maybe.
But yeah, because I have 2 other games but I haven't started yet. But I started today. I played several hours of it, and it's incredible. I feel like because these are the
I
guys
gotta
who made
search up
that.
this game. Sorry, in the chat.
These are the guys who
Donnie.
made the
Donnie got it.
the Majora's Mask shot and everything. And I feel you can totally tell that the game is really
the hell is
inspired by
that?
Zelda. And I don't just mean like
But that innocent
like
child.
because of the gameplay per se, but you have things like when you unlock a chest and a chest opens up, there's sound effects, and you just notice like it doesn't sound the same, but the way that stuff is programmed, it just feels like it's Zelda. And I know it's really good. The combat isn't the best. I feel the buttons are very weirdly positioned. You can reposition them, but I haven't unlocked all the moves yet, so I'm keeping that.
Yeah, it becomes
no,
pretty
like
natural. I've played other games
yeah,
with
exactly.
that
Listen,
same
I
layout.
want to, because it feels strange having your main combat moves on the shoulder. I gotta get used
There's
to that
quite a
stuff.
few games like that. What are you guys laughing at?
Fucking looked up.
I'm watching a trailer,
The
bro.
game.
Sorry, Retro.
Hentai versus Evil?
I looked it up.
That game.
What the fuck?
Absolute trash. Oh man.
Yo!
How did T know about that game?
Yeah, but I didn't even know about that game.
I was watching like one of those fucking channels, and it brought it up, and I'm like, what is this garbage?
What is this?
I think it was like Switch Watch or whatever.
It
The one with
looks
the owl.
Absolutely terrible. I wouldn't
It
even bother
looks
watching
so bad, dog.
Yeah, I think it was Switch Watch, and they were like making fun
I'm
of it. Like,
surprised
what the hell
there's
is this?
shadows in this game, dog. What the fuck?
it. Hey, Retro might like it. It's got a Grim Reaper in there. Let's go.
Yeah,
The
that's.
PC version, because only the PC version has nudity. So.
Oh, thank God. What the fuck? The girls don't even look at. Listen. I need high quality
They
anime.
look
JP.
weird,
Yeah.
like super weird proportioned.
You need RE Engine
Strange.
quality.
I'm in tears, dog. What the fuck is that? As I.
Apologize, Retro.
The
Apologize. You're
gameplay
deep in Kina just
Yeah,
now.
what'd you think of
Yeah.
the music of It's Kana, by the way? I thought it was Kina
Kana,
until the
isn't
game
Kana,
came
man,
out.
Kana.
That's literally what I was gonna say next.
'Cause I love the
this
music.
version
Yeah.
came with the soundtrack, digital soundtrack, which I didn't want to listen to yet because I wanted to have it in the game first. And you're walking in the game, and I'm thinking to myself, this music is way better than it has any right to be.
Exactly. I
feel.
thought it was like Avatar. Well, you didn't love Avatar, but
It's
some of the music's very Avatar.
ridiculously good.
The movie Avatar.
And it's like the kind of stuff where, because it feels like a really high quality game, but you can tell based off certain things that it's an
There's
indie
some
game.
jank to
Like
it, yeah.
often the characters like walking in the air when you're walking in a tree trunk. You know the stuff where you're like, okay, it's definitely like not like a full budget AAA game. But then the music kicks in and you're like, holy shit, the music is so fucking good in the game. Even moments where you're just walking around and the music changes to create this atmosphere where you're discovering like the shit rotting around you, and it's so good. I just stopped walking just to listen to the music. It's really goddamn good.
Yeah, the music's one of the highlights in the art style.
Yeah,
But
like
the
the
gameplay
game
is-
visually, it looks great, and like
It's
it
solid
definitely
gameplay.
shows.
The
It definitely shows that they made like the the CGI short and stuff. Like the cutscenes, it's like you're watching a Pixar movie. Like the way it's animated, the sound, the voice, they put so much effort into those cutscenes. But at the same time, you can tell that you're definitely playing a game. You're not just walking from an amazing cutscene to
yeah,
another.
there's not
The
that many.
gameplay is
I wish
really
there was
good.
actually a few more cinematics to be. That's gonna sound crazy coming from me, but because they were really well done.
They're really good,
especially some
and
of
it
the-
definitely has what I thought like Pikmin vibes. You're definitely, it's not actual Pikmin, but you can tell it has those vibes. You're controlling the rot, like the little creatures, and you're like, oh, there's a block there, so you send some over there, and then you move. You tell them where to go, so they move the block around, and like even the way they animate it, like when you're telling them to move a plank, they pick up the plank, and the plank is like wiggling away. It's really well done.
Yeah, I really
Details.
hope they get a chance to make either a sequel or another game and
Oh yeah,
add some
100%.
add some more depth to the game and interactivity with the environments, because it's how as beautiful as it is, like Clocked pointed out when I first showed the video, there's not a lot of interactivity. Some of the grass moves when you do your little pulse thing and some branches, but for most part it's pretty
I've been
static.
paying attention to that because you said that. Definitely everything above your character doesn't move. I feel if you hadn't pointed it out, I don't know if I would have noticed, because the stuff around you, like the leaves and big plants, they definitely move, and like you said, they're affected by like your pulse, so they like waver and stuff. But
But if
like
the actual trees would blow in the wind like all around, I think that
I
would take it to the next level because that would
I
be.
feel it probably couldn't have handled it. Maybe I don't know how to explain it because visually, it's really fucking good. It looks amazing. The game.
I will say on the PS5 version, from my experience, I preferred when the cutscenes ended, like the dialogue cutscenes, and it went to an in-game cinematic talking. I actually preferred that because it went switched back to 60, and I think it looked just as good almost. Because then it has they do the thing where they put it in the CinemaScope with the black bars for the cinematics, and I'd rather have it stay full screen. But
But like the dialogue also and like the voice acting, like it's really good. Like you meet the main villain in like one of the first cutscenes, and the way he talks and what he talks about is like fucking
it reminds
darkness
me
and
of
wrath and evil. It's so good.
is it Ken Watanabe? Is that how you say it? From
Watanabe?
Watanabe. I think it
Watanabe?
sounds like him, but it isn't him because obviously it had the budget. But the guy kind of sounds like him.
It's like shit clock that would say, like you know nothing of suffering. Like when he talks and shit.
So yeah,
Actually,
any other first time? Anybody beat anything? Clocked it. I know you beat something.
I beat Bravely. I'd say I beat Bravely. You know, got the first. It's just fucking stupid ass series, man. I don't know why they do it. I don't know why they do it.
How did you feel about that boss, man? How did you feel?
Oh, yo, fuck that boss, bro. It nearly broke me, dude. I swear to God, nearly fucking broke me. Come on, when you level,
I had to do some cheesy tactics. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
yeah, I that's what it came down to. Just full on tailor into what I possibly could to just try and get through her. But yeah, you know, and then it just the game just carries on there. So I'm at that point where I'm like, do I bother trying to continue with it now or not? It's going to be another slog. But like I said, I've gotten this far. But I'm content to it enough to have seen the first credits to say I've got to that point, and now I'll just carry on at a casual pace instead of trying to play as hard as I was trying to play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Bravely, the Bravely Default series is a strange series. It's very standard JRPG. It's got like a lot of quality of life stuff in there, which they don't really have in many other RPGs. But for this one, I think it's the one with the weakest characters. I don't hate them, but there's not much to them really, beyond what you very much start out with, compared to the other Bravely games. But you still end up going through it and generally enjoyed it. It's just a good solid RPG. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I've completed recently.
Yeah, you started another game.
Started and I started Narita Boy, which I began briefly, and then I've actually pumped about 2 hours into it today, and I'm yeah, that's my jam, man. If you haven't seen the game, check out the trailer for it. But story wise, it's very Tron, and then it's a callback to like flashback and another world, or out of this world, I think you guys call it. Yeah, out of this world, isn't it? Is I have a name for it. But yeah, visually it's just gorgeous. Music is just I think I'm up there with retro, so I've added it to my list. I'm hoping to complete that before year's end.
Well, I forgot. I got to steal another minute because I forgot to. I did a live stream.
10 minutes. Oh.
I forgot to. I started Hades as well, and I haven't played it enough. I'm on the fence about how I feel about it. I'm not like gonna give up on it or anything.
So you stream. You got to the Hydra, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the second boss or just a mid boss, but I feel like I did pretty well. A couple times I got really low health, but kept chugging. I have that thing where it revives you. I thought that was a one-time use, but it keeps happening. So I guess it's a permanent. I was like, I think that's one of those games I'm gonna have to just play in like 1 hour blocks, because I tried for like a 2 hour stream and I wasn't really excited to start another run after I died. So I think I'll have to. I don't know. Like I said, I'm on the fence about how I feel. The combat's it didn't suck me in like immediately, but I have a feeling there's gonna be more to it later on. So
your gameplay sucked me in instantly. I
Didn't that
instantly bought that shit.
happen? That happened with Returnal too, didn't it?
I went through at like 10 hours. I was struggling with Returnal, but I was hooked right away. But then I hit a block at about 10 hours where I was like, man, I'm not making any progress. So that was just the nature of the game design. But I loved how it played immediately. You know, like that's what kept me going.
Okay.
And I knew there's an ability. I didn't know it was a hook shot type thing, but I knew there was an ability to get places, and I didn't have it yet. It wasn't until I got that all of a sudden everything else started to come and fall into place. Because once you get that ability, that it just makes combat and traversal so much better.
Well, one thing I noticed on your stream, you know, when you I think you were talking about the combat and stuff. You know, what you got to remember with Hades is you start off naked pretty much. You know, as it is with these types of games, and you have to build up, and your character gets better and better and better. So those initial grinds are hard as fuck. You feel like you can't do anything.
Yeah,
and you're just struggling through it. But the nature of this game is to attempt, get some little rewards, get some little boosts, attempt again, and you start getting these perks, and then everything gradually changes, and the combat becomes much different, much better. Once you get to juggle your weapons, your new abilities, and your boons from all the gods, which you start deciding which ones you want and how they get upgraded and stuff. So
yeah, can you switch back and forth between weapons at any point, or are you stuck with one?
No, each run is just one weapon choice.
I just feel like there's one more move, like one more button. There should be one more move for each weapon. I don't know if that happens or not, but it's just.
Well, another thing as well is it's like you might not be like I noticed when you started using what's it called again, the little red diamond thing that you throw out.
Cast.
The cast. That's it. A lot of people overlook the cast, but that as a secondary, well, as a third weapon, has a lot of perks and benefits as well. So, like I said, you know, it's with these types of games, you have to, you know, I'm not trying to force you to, you know, to stick. Maybe you don't like it, but you have to get past a point. And the point you started up right now is you're butt naked. You're gonna get your ass whooped, and you're weak as shit. You know, it'd be like trying to play Metroid, just having your pew pew, and then giving up before you've even got like a missile or a mothball or do anything. You
before you shot a block that was invisible and just gave up.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, so you know, some of these games you have to. Yeah, some of these games, you know, you got to. At the end of the day, it's an RPG. You got to build up your character and get better. So
yeah, well,
you know, if you could try and push past that wall. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it. You know, you just gotta. Unfortunately, it's that type of game where you got to keep pushing and trying to get a bit further.
Yep, and Matthew Shea's saying he's waiting for his PS5. So did you get one? Like, actually order one, Matthew? And he's going to start Ghost of Tsushima, which will be, you know, probably discussed this year on one aspect of my Game of the Year discussion. Ghost of Tsushima, good game. But what about you, T? I know we're already an hour in, but did you start anything or beat anything?
Oh my God, really?
Well, I started a couple new things. But yeah, I wasn't able to. Well, that's the kind of stuff that stops you from like my progress in Halo and my progress in fucking Forza. Is like I need to stop playing new games and finish the shit that I started already. But I don't know, on a whim, I purchased this bad boy.
Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Huh?
Yo,
idiot.
So I saw this for a excellent price because you know a lot of GameCube shit is over like $100, $150 and shit now. So I found this for a really good price. And I remember playing it back in the day. I think I rented it one weekend, and you know, in that time,
what
I
was
was
it
like
called? Just
starting college.
Yeah, it's Pokemon
Gale of Darkness.
XD Gale of
Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember like before.
But that's the second one on the GameCube.
That's the sequel to Coliseum.
Yeah. Before Sword and Shield came out, some Pokemon fan had done like a comparison video as far as animations in this game and in Sword and Shield and how much better they were in this fucking GameCube game, and it's really true. It's really it's kind of embarrassing, but
look. Shit happens sometimes. You know, here's the funny thing. I found out about XD Gale of Darkness, and any of the console Pokemon games do this. If you look at the models for any Generation 1 or 2 Pokemon, they're ripped right out of the stadium. And they did not change the models at all. So when you go back and look at like Pikachu and shit, you're like, why do you have less polygons than like anything from like Gen 3 or 4? Oh, you're from like the N6. Oh, got it. Bet. I will say that Gale of Darkness is technically the better game, but I think Coliseum has a better tone / vibe to it, but technically
I was actually
better game.
I was actually kind of which one should I get, Coliseum or Gale of Darkness? Coliseum, I know I owned that at one
How about
point,
none of them?
I probably gave it to a sibling.
I would grab them myself now, but like upstairs. But like someone else, I'm sure Retro said he loved Coliseum on it as well.
I'm sure he was.
And I just. Just spiraling, just down and down and down in these boring ass dungeons.
Listen,
I mean, I don't normally chew on graphics and stuff, but the cards is fucking like this.
How dare you?
You go to the battles. You go to the battles. It's like T said. You go to the battles. They're fucking let's go, man. Let's go. Fucking just like this. Triangle fucking arms and shit. Just like, just tear this shit off.
He attacking is like a little splotchy little, effect, and then he just, that's it.
Yeah,
like,
and they go.
The attack.
I'll tell you what it reminded me of. I don't know if you remember this, T. Some of you guys might have saw it in my Saturn Games collection video, right? It reminds me of Fighters Megamix, which is an awesome.
Fighters Megamix, yeah.
Also fucking fighting game, by the way. But you got the characters in it. You got a panda, you got a fucking bear in there, and they got no animation whatsoever. They just like float like this.
Weird.
And it just I can find that hilarious in that type of game. But when you got like a full on fucking RPG, and I mean it's not as bad. But I'm just like, man.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
It's the progress of the game as well, man. Come on.
Listen. I will agree. Coliseum will drag like a motherfucker. That's like my biggest issue with that. And if you're someone who wants to catch them all, quote unquote, that is not the game to do it in. That game.
Hey, listen, I'm not gonna lie here. I didn't complete either of them, right? And I especially didn't get that far in Gale of Darkness just because Coliseum killed me. And then when I put that one on, I was like, yo, this looks exactly the same. And I tried to do a bit of it, and I will say
this. Gale of Darkness is better in a couple ways. I don't need to go through all the reasons right now, but like,
yeah, we can move on from this.
It's an overarching.
T was about to say another game he was playing.
Oh, sorry, T.
I'm having fun with it, So.
We hit the Pokemon quota.
Yeah, we can move on. And
I
then
I didn't know there was a quota. What the fuck?
Looney Tunes back in action. Yeah.
Why?
I never played that one.
Now here's the kicker. I've seen people talk about how they like that game. That's why I'm like, why?
Because this game, it actually is a good game. I would almost consider it a hidden gem, but I just wanted to beef up my 3D platform. It's not really a platform. It's 3D action games.
Yeah.
On GameCube, I realized I didn't really have as many as I thought I had. So I wanted to go and see which ones were like people were talking about, and then this is one that people were talking about. So it's all right. It's cool. Not great. Not terrible.
See, I look at that game and I think no like when I see like like lots of people when they get bored of like talking about the best games on the system, right? I like even like the decent games. And you're just like, man, what else can I scrape out of this system? That I could just play that I haven't played before. Yeah. No, but no.
Tails.
I think what it is.
Stupid. Get
Tales of Symphonia.
I think what it is when it comes to GameCube, especially, because a lot of people that are nostalgic for it are like 30s. So when they got it, they were pretty young, and I think, it's even in those days. I think a lot of people or a lot of kids were buying like licensed shit, and it would be like Jimmy Neutrons and all kinds of shit like that.
Yeah,
and those are their like GameCube memories and shit.
I've always said the same thing. Till I was gonna hate this. I've always said the same thing about Sonic Adventure 2, right?
Hey,
now I'm like, why do people rate Sonic Adventure 2 over the first one? Because Sonic Adventure 2 isn't even an adventure game. It's not in the same.
What do you mean?
It's not in the same category.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Of what Sonic Adventure 1 actually does. It's a completely different game. Completely different. I'm like, why do they like this game so much? I'm like, do you know why? Because most of these motherfuckers grew up on a GameCube. Hardly any of them touched the Dreamcast.
Wow.
Sonic Adventure was on. And then they played, because Sonic Adventure 2 was the first Sonic game to be released on the GameCube. Right? So that's the first one that they played. And then they might have played Sonic DX later on. But they were attached to Sonic Adventure 2 that they went, nah, man, this is better. This is better. I'm like, no, it's not.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold up.
So, let me speak to Terrell. What was the first? Yeah. Did you play Sonic Adventure 1?
I own the Dreamcast. I play.
We have a millennial right here. Let him speak.
I played it, but see, I'm probably the exception. But I played the Dreamcast. I played the Dreamcast version of Sonic Adventure 1 first. Now my Sonic Adventure 2 was the GameCube version. Sonic Adventure.
I never played Sonic Adventure 2 at all.
That's fair.
I would say the only thing that SA1 has over SA2 in terms of gameplay, I would say, is the Knuckles stages are better, and it has Hut Worlds if you care about that. Wait.
The Knuckles stages, are the Tails stages better than the Tails stages in Sonic Adventure 1? Do you want to drive around in a robot airplane, or do you want to fly around as Tails?
The problem is they wouldn't give Tails his own fucking levels.
You're not answering my question, man. Stop talking.
Right.
This is what I said.
I kind of put him on the same level, honestly.
Oh man, no way.
If they gave Tails his own unique stages, and the gimmick of Tails stages wasn't just beating Sonic to the end of the stage, sure. But it's literally just.
All right, since we're talking about Sonic, I got to bring up a point. I had a.
We should have this debate one time.
I had a theory that everyone held Sonic Colors in high regard because it was an impressive achievement on the Nintendo Wii.
No.
They put out the remake, and I know it had some technical issues, so I can't really judge it. It doesn't seem like there wasn't a lot of fanfare talking about Sonic Colors after it was remade, so I can't say one way or the other. I kind of had a theory that people were going to play it and be like, yeah, it wasn't as good of a Sonic game as I remember type of thing, but there wasn't enough people that I know who played it, so I can't really say if that ever happened.
That's the different era of Sonic though, isn't it? That's the Rush era of Sonic. That's the era I don't like as much.
Okay, look, so when it comes to colors, which is funny you say that, Clocked It, because that's the one of the few Rush era games that actually is more platforming focus of the.
Hey, don't make me grab it. I've played the game. I'm not saying.
Let me ask.
Nothing came out of my mouth to say that I hate Sonic Colors. I say that's the era of Sonic.
Well, what Sonic game got the boost on Xbox Series X? The frame rate boost. Generations was one. Was there another?
Generation Unleashed.
Because watching John Lennon just gush over Generations, that dude is such a Sonic fan.
Generation is so good. Generations is still good.
But showing it how it actually ran back when it was getting praised back on the consoles.
I think sure it's Generations? I thought it was Unleashed is the one.
He was running down a building, and it was just
That's Unleashed too, though.
That was Unleashed?
Unleashed. So Generation pulls levels from other games. Unleashed is the one that has
like Sonic Adventure 1.
Yeah,
because one looked. I mean, nowadays you look at it and it was like, I mean, stuttering. It looked really bad.
Yeah, if I think you're talking about Unleashed, because Unleashed had a couple levels that just never ran.
It tanked.
Well.
Yeah, like
it just tanked. I think there's a jungle level where it's just too much shit going on, and the gang goes. Yeah, and it just fucking drops. That's why I think you're talking about Unleashed. Now, Unleashed problem is the fact that they thought God of War was a good gameplay style to throw in half of that game instead of just doing day stages. That's the Werehog game. But Colors, going back to that real quick, the Colors game was always good. Colors was always a good game. Although people did give it a lot of credit for how good it looked on the Wii. It looked good on the Wii, like dead ass.
That's all I remember hearing was how people were really impressed
There's
with
nothing
it.
wrong with that. I mean, it's always good to be impressed by what a
good.
certain
but I
console's
don't.
doing.
That's what I kind of felt like. Maybe that's why it was held in such high regard because of what it achieved on the Wii.
Oh, because of that.
And Donnie R says you don't run down a building in Unleashed because it was like a skyscraper and the reflections and it just like that's the game.
Okay. Then that must. That's probably Generations.
That has to be
Generations.
The only two games it could have been is.
But I was watching it, because they're showing the frame rate boost and it's like lock 60 on Series X now, and you never even. It was only 30, but it didn't hit 30 consistently on the 360.
No, I didn't.
And I'm watching that footage, and I'm just not seeing. I'm seeing everything. Obviously, I don't love that game. I didn't hate it, but I'm just like, man, that's the gameplay that we're praising here. Like, it's just a lot of auto scrolling, a lot of auto targeting, and it is what it is. But I don't know how that compares to like Adventure 2.
Adventure 2 is probably the gameplay style most Sonic fans like. Adventure 1 and 2 Sonic is probably what people would say is the pinnacle of 3D Sonic when it comes to like movement and control and shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how people feel about
people like Adventure 2 better or remember it better because they don't like the open world stuff or the hubs.
Yeah.
They like the more streamlined kind of setup.
Because they like riding around at the speed of sound. That's all it is.
Right.
I got
It's the opening the house. Yeah?
As big as the cat in 2?
Yeah, he is. And
I gotta say, I got a.
Is he? I can't remember.
He's in 1. That's where you do the fish.
He's in 1, right?
Yeah,
he's in 1.
Everyone brings a big cat, right?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
People bring that up,
and I feel like those people didn't even play that fucking game. They just heard somebody else say that shit.
Yeah,
that is
it's Sonic Adventure 1. You got Sonic, you got Tails, you got Knuckles, and they've all got great stages. You got E102, and the robot stages are awesome, and he's such a unique character there with a unique storyline as well. I mean, the dude dies at the end, man. It's so fucking good.
That's a spoiler, Clark.
Oh, shut up! It's Sonic Adventure 1.
So Visor Grunt says, I mean, auto targeting is modern Sonic, right? Well, that's to me that's a negative. Like auto targeting is the least. Didn't
the original Sonic have that already?
No.
Original? What do you mean, Sonic Adventure?
No, like
Sonic
Mega Drive Sonic.
No. The only game that had something close to that was when.
No, the original Sonics had physics.
When you big.
Imagine if you're playing Mario.
3D. So listen, 3D Blast introduced the homing attack, even though it was considered a power up in that game. Homing attack in general, homing attacking isn't auto targeting.
Isn't auto targeting? No.
I would say that kicked in. What was that? Fucking.
It does auto target.
But a homing attack is the definition of auto targeting, though.
Say what?
A homing attack is the definition of auto targeting.
But it was a power up. It's not. It wasn't like you can do as.
It wasn't like the majority of your jumps were controlled by that, and
yeah, you could choose not to homing attack a creature. It wasn't just auto homing attack like 3 creatures in a row, just because they were near each other. That was something that was introduced later. The way you could do it is you could jump off a ledge. If there was an enemy there, you could choose to hit it, or you could just keep going in the air. That was the thing. The problem is, as the modern games went on, they said, well, guess what's the cool way to get over giant ledges? We either do dash pads, or we have you homing attack 6 enemies to get there. The problem is,
what was it in Sonic Adventure 1? It was the light ring boots, wasn't it?
Oh, light speed dash.
Light speed dash. Thank you.
Which is where you.
That's some Yuji Naka shit, because he put that shit in like a bunch of other games too. He put it in like the Rooster Boy. What's the fucking game called?
Billy Hatcher.
Billy
Hatcher. It's in that other game that came out on Wii. And
on Billy Hatcher, you go through rings.
Oh, you're talking about Rodea.
Rodea, yeah, it's in that shit too. He loves that fucking targeting shit to get over gaps. That's Yuji Naka shit. He loves that shit.
It's not. I can see people's issues with modern Sonic, very much, but I think most Sonic fans agree his best control version was probably Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. I personally make the case the Lost World had a good control scheme. They just have no confidence in going back into it to do it again.
Well, they just need to tighten up the game.
Yeah, I like Lost World.
I really feel like
all little technical things around Lost
yeah,
World.
and I kind of feel like they rushed it out to try to help the Wii U get some games. Maybe they would have just put it out that way anyway, but I feel like some polish, some editing, maybe I don't know. I always the biggest thing felt disjointed though was you'd go from this cool 3D cylinder world, and the next level, you're in a 2D like cakes and donuts, and like what the fuck is this? Like what does this have to do with anything?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then you're back. The next level's 3D. You're back to like a green cylinder with like Green Hills themes. Like it's just so random.
The biggest problem that Lost World always will have, and I just boil it down to this: it didn't have focus. It was very much a game that was throwing everything at the wall, and some things worked and some things didn't. Yeah. But I think
I was going to say people did that for Lost World because of Generations, because Generations did that shit, and everybody loves Generations, right? So they put that in Lost World, and I think also Colors. Everybody loves Colors, so they kind of did that. The Wisp and shit. So I think
you know the joke that Lost World got when it first came out. It was called Super Mario Super Sonic Galaxy. That was the joke. People say that's the most Mario-esque Sonic game that has come out.
Doesn't come fucking close.
Yeah, but and I never understood the comparison. But people are like,
the only comparison they brought up about it. It's like what I hear. I tell you what I hear all the time now, right? And I fucking hate it. And if I had a YouTube channel, I'd do a video on it, right? They when people say it's like Breath of the Wild, and then they'll just show the character stand on the edge of a mountain looking out at a long distance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you even know what made Breath of the Wild different?
Well,
from
I think what they're
else?
saying is people are copying.
It wasn't just because it was an open world. You had this whole physics and weather system, right? And all these things that just connected together in a way that you just have really had in a video.
I wonder if you saw the post I saw.
I defend those people a little bit. I want to defend them a little bit. I think what they're saying is, Zelda games have been his certain way this whole time, right? They had this at least 3D ones, even like Link to the Past. So like Link to the Past up until Skyward Sword, right? They had this kind of set kind of gameplay style, and Breath of the Wild kind of opened that up, and it was like a big kind of departure from what the traditional version of that game is. That's why people were saying that about Sword and Shield at first, and bro. And
but it's like the same people. It's like the same people. I could bring down my Beyond Good and Evil poster now or something. It's like IGN, back in the day. There's, they would have said, "Oh, Dark Cloud is Sony Zelda." It's nothing like fucking Zelda.
Oh yeah, I saw it on the magazine all the time.
Because it's third person and you can lock onto a character. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, I did see.
Or they say Beyond Good and Evil, an adult Zelda. What the fuck does that mean?
I seen a post, and I don't know if that's the one you maybe didn't read. Like what they were actually trying to say was the enter maybe the beginning of the game, go to like the edge of your character runs away from the camera, and the camera pans up and shows the environment as the character runs to the edge of the cliff. That's what the last one I saw that was comparing like multiple games showed that.
All the ones I've seen,
they weren't saying the whole game is Breath of the Wild.
Open world looks like Breath of the Wild type of thing, and it's just like, no, come on. There's more to Breath of the Wild than just a large landscape and big stand on.
Well, this one was actually interesting because they're like, someone's like, don't tell me that Breath of the Wild hasn't had an impact on games, because it was like Halo Infinite. They all had the same like, go up to the ledge and see this epic shot of the world moment, like Immortals. I don't know if Immortals had that.
There were open world games before Breath of the Wild.
And to think, right, of all the things that these developers have taken, that they could have taken from Breath of the Wild, they decided to take Link standing on the edge of a fucking cliff, just so they can have this fucking promotion.
That's the easiest thing
but
you can do.
The interesting thing is, the interesting thing for me was seeing all the people trying to deflect the main point that Zelda's Breath of the Wild has had an impact on gaming since it came out. There were so many people acting like,
I see it all. I still see it.
Like denying the impact of Breath of the Wild. Well, Skyrim did, it's like Skyrim did this, but so you're telling me you see these 4 shots? They're all very similar to Breath of the Wild. You can see the influence, and you can't even acknowledge that. That tells me that somebody's like in denial, or like it's like there must be a fanboy or something.
Well, they're biased.
Like, you can't even admit that that's very obvious thing that this person pointed out with 4 screenshots from 3 different games plus Breath of the Wild. You can't even admit that. Like, then what? Like, you can't talk to somebody like that. I found that kind of interesting and frustrating to read a lot of the replies of these people trying to deny the impact Breath of the Wild has had on games. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
people who say like these open world games, people who say these games, these open world games are exactly like Breath of the Wild, have not played Breath of the Wild. Just like people who say fast racing Neos exactly like F-Zero have not played F-Zero.
No.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't understand how people, and like 5 years later, are in denial about the impact that Breath of the Wild had.
Man.
It's like, really?
It's
like,
that modern Nintendo thing, is it? I mean, it's just like people hate it when we still bring up Ocarina of Time and Mario 64 as these these landmarks, and or whether it's F-Zero, or Metroid and Metroidvanias, and all this stuff. Like, it's just like, come on.
Even the OG Zelda, it's always Zelda, and people can say what they want, but it's always Zelda innovating shit. Like the OG Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, whether people like it or not, these games all change the fucking industry every time they release all over again.
Was it Assassin's Creed 4 said they were inspired by Wind Waker for the sailing? Like, that's what made them want to try to do sailing, was Wind Waker.
Yeah.
The Dark Souls guy, was it him who said, like, they were inspired
he literally said without Zelda, there's no fucking Dark Souls pretty much.
Yeah.
He said it's just, I think what he called Zelda, he called it I think he said like Nintendo, he said Nintendo something like Nintendo Forefather or something like that, it's just something very Japanese and stuff, but
it saddens me because I can't play Dark Souls. I don't like it.
you can see the DNA. You can see the lock on, the third person lock on targeting and stuff. Z targeting.
Yeah.
People chew out the N64 controller.
That did not happen, guys, before Ocarina of Time. That was not a thing. Nobody was doing that.
Well, just look at the original Zelda, though. That is basically like Dark Souls. It was punishing. You didn't know where the fuck to go, and it's like there was no hand holding. You just got your ass kicked. You figured it out.
We can always point out the people who like to deny it, but so many developers still cherish this stuff. Like, I played like Narita Boy. Would something like Narita Boy exist without Flashback or Another World, or I still haven't completed it, or I nearly have Blossom Tales, and Blossom Tales is just like one of the biggest homages to Link to the Past that I've played. It's just people. You got the developers who will still, openly just say, this game, and then just say, without it, where the fuck would we be?
Yeah, like that's just the thing. Like, they're pioneers. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is, to transition a little bit, is musicians and stuff. I talk to musicians a lot, and all of them will reference, Hendrix and Dora, all the greats, right? But that doesn't, for whatever reasons, that don't happen in hip hop, and that just drives me insane. Like, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing without these guys.
Yeah, they don't give respect.
Maybe you didn't learn directly from that guy, but somebody you listen to learned from that guy. Like, so that's just how it works. And to be mad about that, like, that's just strange to me.
Yeah,
I just don't get that.
I feel like there was another post too where some people were trying to discredit the influence of another game.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I'm glad we had so much time spent talking about what we've been playing, because we didn't really have like any major things happen. I guess
we just had Christmas. You want to talk about what you got?
I didn't get anything other than a little Blinky Pac-Man ghost, like, just I don't know what you call it. You put it on a book. I put it on my bookshelf. Ooh, is that a mug with a controller for the handle?
From the in-laws.
Oh,
that's fucking cool.
I was like, thanks, guys. That's why I'm drinking out of this one. But you know,
it's kind of a clunky.
I haven't opened it.
It's kind of a clunky handle.
It's a huge handle.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's a PlayStation controller.
It's cool though.
You can see it that way. So
I got an application for a PlayStation Visa out of the blue, so I almost applied for it because the perks are pretty decent. But
PlayStation Visa?
A Visa card with a PlayStation. Your rewards are all PlayStation.
Yeah,
rewards.
You guys are waiting with us.
did you get a Hori pad?
Yeah, I got it. Oh, that's not the Hori pad. This is the old school.
Well, that's got the GameCube.
Yeah, it looks pretty much like it though.
Yeah.
What would that be for though? With the D-pad?
I got really jealous because you had one. You found one at your mom's. I think you said you found your old one. And,
what is that used for though?
I mean, my old one. I tell you what's funny. Wait there.
Because that's got GameCube layout with a D-pad.
Yeah, so you this has a GameCube. You stick this in your GameCube controller port, so it has a GameCube controller port. It's for a Game Boy player on your GameCube.
Oh.
So that way you can have the retro style controller, retro. Be able to, because it's playing like 2D games with a fucking GameCube controller with that terrible D-pad, not the best. So, and Nintendo knew that, and that's why they commissioned Ori. Ori originally made this. This is a new one. This came out, I think, like a couple years ago. But Ori originally was licensed to make. Clocked has one. So
yeah. So when all my kids were born, I messed around and I give them like a SNES, like a Nintendo controller. Just as acted like it was like the umbilical cord. Born with a Nintendo controller, and my daughter, who's now 11, I think you can see her there. Yeah, I got it holding that Hori controller pad.
Wow.
You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Hori one there, but yeah, she's 11 now. So she's
yeah, that one is
yeah, I bought it in Hong Kong, man. It's like I said, just some random Hong Kong video game shop.
Collectible now.
Nintendo 64.
I didn't know until you said.
Yeah, my sister.
Yeah, if you got it in a box, it's over $1,000.
My sister got me this.
Is that your favorite Nintendo console?
It's not.
Yes.
She said it's gaming related. I know you like Nintendo stuff. I said okay. I said I'll take it because I don't have
Nintendo's best console. Let's go.
Oh God! All right. It was I don't have anything N64 related, so I'm like, that's fine, cool. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Do you have an N64?
I don't.
Yeah, I did have an N64 when I was little.
I have an N64 logo on my desk.
Idea. It's weird. I have N64 games still in the house, and I have no idea where the fuck the console went. I used to have it at some point.
Oh, I also
Retro, you got Kana for Christmas, didn't you?
I got Kana. I got some PlayStation money, and there was a sale, so I got Tales of Arise as well, which I'm about to start.
Tell me how that is, Retro.
I'll let you know. Yeah.
All right.
And
It's
I think I didn't do all the presents yet because like my shit hasn't arrived yet, so I haven't opened everything yet because I'm waiting for that. But gaming wise, so far that's what I got.
T didn't need any more games.
I got the most expensive thing for what do you call it? The Split Plaid Pro, the Pac-Man model.
Nice.
Oh, I saw that. I didn't know.
Yeah, I saw those before. I really like those.
Get them now because they're gonna be super collectible.
Waka waka.
I hope they come out one that goes with the OLED, the white and black.
Oh, and I already had these,
Bonzi.
which is the
Pokemon
Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu ones. So
yeah,
you like your Hori pads.
I do like my Hori pads, man. I'm a whore for Hori pads.
But then they're officially licensed by Nintendo, aren't they? So they make
they are. Yeah, that's why.
Decent stuff. So.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say I had 6 days off and I didn't play nearly enough gaming. I probably played Uncharted. Probably equal to Forza Horizon, maybe.
The game series he rags on the most.
I know.
Yeah, I know, right?
Good God.
I feel bad because I had so much time to do stuff. I ended up watching. I almost got through The Mandalorian in like a week or so. Finished The Witcher 2 season 2.
At least you can say you've completed the entire series.
I will. Yeah, I will be able to. Yeah, I just really got sucked into watching some TV shows and movies and stuff. So, I did more of that than gaming. I just, remodeled.
Yeah, you gotta choose where your time goes.
I remodeled my theater room, so I was just like, you know what? It's all done. I don't have any. I'm gonna start watching more stuff. So I watched the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes last night. I've seen it twice before, so that one wasn't that new to me. But just been enjoying that kind of stuff. I will say Witcher 2, Season 2, though, is fucking phenomenal, man. I never wanted... Well, there's other shows, but those 8 episodes was not enough. Like, I don't like that they keep making seasons shorter and shorter. I know that they do that because the budget stays the same and they can make more special effects per episode if they make less episodes. But fucking A, man, I could have watched 20 episodes of that season. It was so good.
I wish they would not drop the whole series. That's one show that I would like to be like waiting for every week,
Yeah.
But that's Netflix's way. So
I gotta watch that the anime, like the prequel thing of the Brotherhood.
That was awesome.
I didn't watch it because I wasn't sold after season 1, so it's kind of game related, but I definitely enjoyed that.
It referenced. I was gonna say, I guess what order you should watch it in, because this season references that anime when he's talking about being a kid and how they got attacked. It's in that anime.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. So that was really good. A lot of their shows went 8 episodes now, and The Expanse went to 6, which pissed me off. But so far it's good. It's just not enough, and they're short.
It's a
fucking short.
Pandemic film.
I think they just. I don't know. I just feel it's the way it's going.
See, Donnie mentioned, sorry to cut out there, but he mentioned Klonoa pioneered 2.5D for platformers. But didn't what was it? Anyway, did Pandemonium come out before that?
I was gonna say, I think Pandemonium was before Klonoa.
Yeah.
It might have been close.
Yeah, you would have called Bug because Bug was 3D, was going through the backwards, but sure, Pandemonium was like 96, man. Sure, Klonoa come out later.
What errors you're saying? Breath of the Wild was number 1, first time ever seen Zelda get such love. What do you mean? What? I don't see any other reference there to Breath of the Wild number 1. And
I think
because he means the top 100 games for Japanese.
Yeah, they weren't Zelda games weren't as popular until Breath of the Wild.
So was it Pandemonium came out in 96, right?
Pandemonium.
Sorry, Donnie. I'm just it's curious because we all love 2.5D platformers. It's just it's curious because I haven't actually given any thought to what was the first one. But yeah, Klonoa came out in 97, so Klonoa wasn't the first one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Pandemonium. I meant to mention that earlier. I saw when he typed that. Yeah. I think Pandemonium was earlier than that.
So
I can't think of anything else before Pandemonium.
Yeah.
Not to
change
the subject, but I was just thinking. I saw that Dread was at. Someone was saying they think it's at like 2 million or something now, which is lower than I expected. I don't know if that was currently up to date sales, like after Christmas. With all that, somebody was posting like numbers.
Dread,
at least for the sales of the console side.
For Dread, I thought it was like, I think somebody was saying Dread was at like 2 million now, which I mean, it's still for a Metroid game, that's good, but I thought it would maybe do more.
What 3D Metroid game at that on console for $60 in today's?
But the Switch, the Switch OLED did like in Japan like that last week before Christmas did like 90,000 or something ridiculous. Then the regulars, I mean, it was like the Switch just absolutely dominating. The next closest was like the PS5 at like 7,000, and the Switch was like 200 and something combined thousand.
Oh, wait, when did Clockwork Knight come out as well? Sorry, I'm talking to myself now. Carry on.
Yeah, I knew about Clockwork Knight, but I don't know if it was a launch title for Saturn, so it had to be like 94.
Yeah. So he was saying that Breath of the Wild was the number 1 fan voted best game of all time in Japan. That's surprising.
Wow, that is surprising.
Yeah,
but, that was that one that had.
There we go.
To be honest,
you guys finish that in the chat. Finish your 2.5D in the chat.
This is important shit right here, man.
Yeah, it was. I remember it was a list of like the top 10 all-time games, and it was like Breath of the Wild, Dragon Quest. Was it?
Oh yeah, I just saw that.
6.
Hold on.
No, it was a V. It had a V, I believe.
You saying top 10 rated games in Japan, is it?
No,
Yeah.
all time, based on 50,000
it
votes. It
It's
wasn't like everybody, obviously.
It was Breath of the Wild, Dragon Quest V, Final Fantasy VII, Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Splatoon 2, Dragon Quest 3, Smash Ultimate, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy X, Super Mario Brothers 3. That was the top 10.
It's like a lot of
Mario Brothers 3.
It's like a lot of it's either old games or a couple like Switch games.
That's what I said.
Yeah, ironically, no. The reason why I found out because my friends were like, "Oh, see where the Pokemon games ranked at," and then that's top 10. And then
that was just Pokemon video games in general, right? It wasn't just
it was just games in general. But my friends,
you know that they love the Dragon Quest series, and but I'm surprised
11
Smash
wasn't
is
up
on there
there
too. I didn't think they liked Smash like that.
I was surprised Smash was on that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a huge sample size. It's 50,000 votes. If it would have been like,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, but back to Clockwork Knight. So it considered.
Dude, I don't care.
You took too long to jump in. I was trying to get you
to jump in. the other thing, God, I feel like there was something else along those lines of that.
What?
For Japan. Well, I started talking about the sales.
I'm surprised to see Breath of the Wild at number 1 in.
Yeah, that's kind of weird for Japan.
That's crazy.
I don't like Zelda.
No, I know they like Zelda,
but you would think like Persona 5 would have been on there or something, or
when you're talking
Monster Hunter,
especially when you're talking RPGs as well. Come on, man, we know those.
But,
that is surprising.
If I think about people who were pulling off the craziest moves in Breath of the Wild,
was a lot of Japanese.
There's a lot of Japanese guys doing that shit. So
I believe Splatoon 2 was on it for sure. I was not surprised.
Yeah, it is.
But Smash probably the most being on there at all in the top 10, and then Breath of the Wild being number 1. You know,
that top 10. I mean, there's a good number of RPGs on here. Final Fantasy VII, Dragon Quest, Chrono Trigger.
Which Dragon Quest is on there?
A bunch of
them. 5 and 3.
Final Fantasy 9 never gets no love.
And Final Fantasy 7 and 10 are also on there. Which I know 10 is clocked its favorite.
That's some bullshit right there.
I'm also surprised how high. Well, Super Mario Brothers always cracks me up, but
the original Mario Bros.
No, it's 3. Super Mario Bros. 3.
I understand. 3.
I get why it's on there. I've always thought World was better though. I've never even debated it. I always liked World better.
I thought people liked World.
It's not undebatable.
I just meant for me. For me, it wasn't even a question. Once I played World, I was like this, and went back to 3. Yeah, I just love the cape so much.
Oh no!
I love both, but I do. Super Mario World is better for me too. Like
Mario World
but there is definitely an equal debate. I feel if somebody says 3 is the best game ever, then I would not disagree.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
There's elements of 3 which are just so fucking good. That world don't even touch, like the tanks and stuff like that. It's
yeah, there's. I mean, they each have their own. They feel very different too. They don't feel.
I think of Super Mario World, you got like the cape, the different Yoshis, the ghosts, the music, and the ghost houses and shit. Like the castles, man.
I'm not knocking any of them. It's
shoe. It's
whatever you want. Whatever you want.
That's all you got, though.
The airships.
I got the Tanuki suit. The first time Mario flew.
The airships were epic in 3.
Airships.
Xenoblade
one of my favorite suits.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was the highest Xenoblade game at 35.
Yeah, it was. It was at like what 35, right?
Those idiots.
That's an interesting list.
I'm glad it was that high.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I didn't think it'd be that high.
X should be higher.
No, it shouldn't.
So what's the first true Sony exclusive on that list? We all know why
2 was higher.
Where's that list?
What is the Sony exclusive?
What's the highest true exclusive?
The list is in Japanese.
First party Sony. Like what's
Japanese?
Did they rank on the top 100 at all?
I have the whole list. The problem. Oh wait, no, hold on. I see.
Translate.
Some of them is.
Oh, you mean okay? So there's just cinematic games later.
Some of them are translated. Hold on.
Because Final Fantasy VII for the longest was pretty much a PlayStation game, but
Sony don't make Japanese games.
Of the ones I can read, the first one I see on there is. Oh, that's not right. I see Nier at 48. I see Ghost of Tsushima at 66. I see Bloodborne at 67.
Well, Nier's a Square game.
I don't know why they like Nier.
I think Ghost of Tsushima is the only one I see.
Well,
that I can read the name of.
I rank that as one of the best Sony first-party games.
Which game, sorry? God, Ghost of Tsushima. The Japanese were really impressed with that.
It's just crazy, like.
Ain't that Sucker Punch?
They did. I mean, I'm obviously on the outside looking in, but it just feels like they did.
His new favorite studio.
They did such a good job of like capturing at least the Japanese samurai movie feel.
So the white guys out Japan Sony there. Oh.
I don't even know where that studio is from.
It's not called Ghost of Tom Cruise.
Are they European? Is Sucker Punch a European company? I don't think they're U.S.
Good. No, they're. I think they're European.
So you hear a lot of these studios, they're a Western studio, and they're like East Europe, and I'm like, well, it's not that far from the, I guess, just the Asian.
The problem is Slovakian. The point is that we don't trust American gaming. That's really what.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of like.
It happens lots of times. It happens before when you're just like, man, this feels so Japanese. It's like, we had a revelation, a good few years back, but we brought it up before. We were talking about Ulysses. I fucking grew up loving Ulysses cartoon. I thought that was pure Japanese. I thought it was all anime, Ulysses stuff, but no, it's made in Europe. Like so
yeah,
just inspired.
Give your residents
good at mimicking the shit.
Give Europe more credit. Give Europe more
do it
credit.
Sometimes.
Completely.
Dogs
what surprised me? I'm surprised Minecraft wasn't as high as it is. It's at number 20, and I was like,
Surprised. Still pretty high though.
That's lower than I thought it would be.
Pretty high.
I mean, you got like Minecraft and Bloodborne. Sometimes I'm like,
where's Mario 64?
Where's the sources of how Japanese this list is? Sometimes, man.
I don't. Like I said, an
N64 didn't do well in Japan.
Senran Kagura probably had a Mario 64.
I think the Japanese have always preferred 2D Mario, though, haven't they? I'm sure.
Yeah, they have preferred 2D over 3D.
Metal Gear Solid 3 is number 18. These are the ones I can read. Apex is 30.
Yeah, the best Metal Gear. Let's go.
Dark Souls 3 is 39. I don't see Metal Gear Solid 2. I see Mother 2.
Snake Eater?
Yeah, 3. 3's at number 18.
Is there a Final Fantasy on there?
Yeah, there is. 7 and 10.
Probably not.
2 it is, 7 and 10.
Can you see a Metroid game?
No 6, man. Where's 6? What's going on?
Look, I'm only gonna grab the ones I can read. Why is Dead by Daylight on here? What the fuck?
But you said Apex was on there too, man.
Apex what?
Apex Legends.
What?
That's
well,
number
they
30.
do like. I mean, they do have a popular like they're free to play like competitive type games. They're.
I understand that, but Apex.
Mother 2's on here is at 28.
What spot does Days Gone at?
I don't see Days Gone.
It's not on there.
unless they wrote the name in Japanese, it's not on. Fucking
playing, man.
So Sucker Punch is out of Washington.
What the fuck?
It's American.
Okay, I was asking. I didn't know. I was asking.
I wanted to say that, but I wanted to be smart.
Dark Souls 3's on here. 39. Cool.
So speaking of Japanese,
Miyazaki.
I'm gonna switch off here. Speaking of Japanese companies, I seen the Sphere Hunter put out her Resident Evil 4 retrospective, and I completely forgot about that first demo that never got made of being in a mansion.
Oh,
with like
it looks so good
with like a ghost.
It's still 3D.
But when you go to aim, it would switch to behind the shoulder, and I'm like, that would have been jank as hell, though. I'm sorry.
No, dude, it looks so
every
good.
Time you aim, it went Resident Evil 4. Every time you aim, it went from zoomed out to quickly over your shoulder. Like that wouldn't have worked. There's no way that would have worked.
They were trying to do, but just in terms of
but the rest of it looks cool.
The fixed camera angles and stuff, and when he's moving down the corridors, just graphically at the time, I was just like,
it looked amazing.
Fucking game looked so good. And then the ghosts come out of the walls and stuff like that. Oh, dude, they look.
I'm gonna link that video in the chat because that's
it's
a high.
Really,
I didn't get to see.
I think they kind of turned that then into Resident Evil remake, just completely fixed the pre-rendered background. So instead of having it,
a couple of their projects turned into one was Devil May Cry, the other was another horror game with a woman and a dog. She's really. It's a really good video. Like I highly recommend for Resident Evil fans.
Wasn't Animosha supposed to be something else?
Yes.
But I completely forgot. And then they also had another build of the game with was it Kamiya? I think it was Kamiya.
Yeah, Kamiya.
And after he tried 3, and they gave him 4 as well, and then that would turn into unless she was mixing up, unless I wasn't hearing it right. I know that originally Resident Evil 3 was actiony, and that turned into Devil May Cry.
Yep.
But then Resident Evil 4 had a couple iterations before they finally settled on
the
end result.
On the god tier Resident Evil 4. That's what it sounded.
The perfect balance of the horror and the survival horror and the action stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we got Resident Evil 5.
Don't listen to Retro. He's like, no horror in that game, man. Are you fucking crazy?
I'm not saying there's no horror in it. I said it's a shooter. And it fucking is.
They're all
that's all you did in the other games.
It is a shooter.
The other games are shooters.
They're all shooters, man. What are you talking about?
They're survival shooters. The other one's survival horror.
Were you shooting
to survive?
You start off in Resident Evil. You start off Resident Evil 3. Like a machine gun. Just like, zombies like,
right. You're not keeping that machine gun for the entire game. You're just never out of ammo in 4. You're never afraid of you being cornered, or you gotta like.
You're never afraid of being cornered. Are you kidding me? You're constantly.
I savored my riot shotgun. I savored that shit. And then you talk about horror and stuff. When you run up to that church, and then you got the dogs coming out of the darkness. It's fucking really. I was like, yo. Bro.
Everywhere you turn, there was somebody somebody there that you had to go upstairs, jump out of the window, try to get away.
Yeah.
I stand by the fact that I didn't say 4 is not horror, but I stand by the fact that 4 made the entire franchise into a fucking shooter instead of a survivor, and that's true.
The entire franchise.
Oh, you're saying like 5 and 6 weren't fucking shooters?
Those are the only
two games. Yeah, 2 games, Retro.
Play Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7, tell me that's not a survival game.
Franchise, right? We're not Resident Evil 8. Do you know what I'm saying? 8.
Plus, you had Revelations 1 and 2.
To be fair, I've heard that 5 is a good co-op game, if nothing else.
And 5 is not like horrible when it comes to
I don't like
stuff.
That color filter though.
When it started the real 6 is just it just went off the rails with the action stuff.
I haven't even touched
5 was
6.
kind of it was a little all right. You doing too much over here, but I'm still with you.
Although I've started seeing videos now. Was Resident Evil 6 too harshly criticized and all this shit? Not like when people start trying to find excuses or reasons.
The argument. Okay, all right, clock it. Let me say this. This is the argument I've heard about Resident Evil 6. The argument I heard is that it's a good shooter. It's a bad Resident Evil game. That's what I've heard.
I wouldn't even say it looks like a good shooter.
I don't even say it was a good shooter.
It's a lot of dumb button prompt stuff.
Like, I haven't played it, so I
didn't play it, but I watched some. I will say.
I played it. Not very long, but I played it.
I don't know what Retro Death would think of Resident Evil 2 remake. If that feels like a shooter to you.
What do you mean by a shooter? That's what just because they got guns?
When I say a shooter, it's like when you went from 1, 2, and 3 to 4 afterwards, you got way more enemies at the same time and way more ammo all the time. You could literally mow down crowds and shit, and then still have ammo left. I remember when I played the original Resident Evil, like half the time you were running through a hallway hoping to get up behind a zombie or around into the door because you had just no ammo. I just never ran out of ammo in 4. And like after that, it became only worse.
You ran out of ammo if you couldn't hit.
Would you really say? Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say. So, are you really saying is that 4 is just less of a survival game? Is that your issue with 4?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, T.
I was gonna say what consoles were 1, 2, and 3 on?
PS1.
PS1. You don't think they would have did more shit if they could have? It's a product of the system it was on. That's why
tried to do more shit with Resident Evil 3. That was the whole point of 3.
That might be the case.
For 3, exactly.
That might be the case, but they were what they were, though. That's what it was themed, like survival horror. That's what it was. I just feel the franchise became less and less and that. That's why I really love Not Revelation. Is it Revelations? Yeah, Revelations,
Revelations
on the
yeah.
ship, because that became more survival horror again compared to
It had a lot of
five,
shooting in it.
Do
six.
you like Code Veronica? Do you like Code Veronica?
Anything.
Yeah, I like Code Veronica.
Okay, so in Code Veronica, right? In Code Veronica, yeah, you got Claire Redfield. First thing she's doing, busting out 2 guns straight for like this, blasting all these motherfuckers who can't even get close to her, right? And all I'm trying to, I understand what you're saying about Resi 4. Yeah, it's even more action packed than Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil Code
Well,
Veronica.
thank you. That's
But
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
that's just because now we got to a system where they like, we want zombie hordes coming at you like there's no fucking tomorrow, right? No more of this shuffling shit. It's just like when they released Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, we're bored of walking shuffling zombies now. Let's turn the fucking heat up, man. You got these motherfuckers coming at you like,
You couldn't stop.
shit.
It was like,
and in Resi 4, you were not standing still, just going, I got infinite ammo, let me take them all out. You were running your ass up buildings, upstairs, diving out windows, because if you stood still, your ass would be suplexed, you'd be munched on, you'd be chainsawed up.
yeah, you couldn't stand still. You had to keep moving.
I want to make it clear before people misunderstand me. I love Resident Evil 4. I love the fact that you went into the castle. I like shooting all these people. I love how detailed it was, where you shot the person mattered, like fucking GoldenEye did it back in the day. I love all that shit. And I think it's a great fucking game. I'm just saying, I just don't like it how it made it less survival horror and more shooter, and that's just the fact.
Did you you prefer the slower pace, Resi? Do you?
Yeah.
So you probably like the remake. Then you like the remake.
The remakes,
most people do.
I'm pretty sure I will like the remakes.
I think the remake.
For me, there's Resi 4 and then there's Resident Evil 1 remake, and those are the two defining Resident Evil games for me. And then you could throw in Resident Evil 2 remake, for stuff which brought in full 3D, had that slower pace as well a bit, and
okay, so is it who's played 8? You played 8, right?
I played 8.
Is it
feels more like 4.
Crazy action packed, or is it slower paced? Okay, 7. Is it crazy action packed, or is it slower paced?
But those are completely different again to me. Like those games, they're like first person and shit, aren't they? Like there's a whole different vibe. No, I definitely agree that those are definitely super horror based and that kind of shit. And I definitely agree that they're definitely not the way shooters are. When I say the entire franchise and shit, I just mean the games that came after that. We had 4, 5, and 6. I should just say 4, 5,
you mean 3 games?
Okay.
Yeah,
I will say 8 gets.
Almost everybody loves 4. People.
I love 4. I said it.
Okay.
People say most of the agreement I've heard with 5 is that if you play 5 multiplayer, then you're good. But don't ever play 5 single player.
Is really good, yeah. And 6 is everybody universities. 6 was I don't like 6.
Yeah, I don't blame 4 for what
happened to 6.
What 5 and 6 turned out to be. That's just Capcom fucking up and trying to say. With Resi 5,
they very much tried to copy the Magic,
and they tried to copy it,
but
they fucked it up. They just.
What was that ugly filter they put on the color too? It looked
I thought they made sense though. That's haze. That's haze because you're in the problem.
Everything was like yellow or something.
Because you're in the desert in the middle of the day. My issue was the fact that it took place during the day. Why the fuck you have a Resident Evil game? At daytime.
I had a chance to buy it and I changed my mind. I ended up buying Devil May Cry 4 and Lost Planet double pack and never even opened.
Do you know what they tried to make Resi 5 like? They tried to make Resi 5 like the mercenary mode in Resi 4 and stuff, right? Where you're clambering over stuff in almost like arenas, and they want you to go into the shanty town to climb up on a roof, jump down off the roofs, people below you and all this stuff. And I enjoyed the mercenary mode in Resi 4. Just Resi 5 was just. Oh god,
they got excited post tank controls. They were like, "Oh man, now we can do all this." Mate, they just needed to edit themselves. They went too far because of the limitations that they had before, and you had to be really creative with that stuff. And that's a lot of times the limitation breeds, creative stuff.
That's what I say. Resi 5 became crazy action packed.
More power and all that stuff. You go a little bit off the deep end with that. And you got to rein yourself back in with 7 and 8. See, that's what happens.
Honestly, for me, the
formula
I enjoyed 8. 7 was okay. I liked 8 more. Just make a new Resident Evil game in the formula of Resident Evil 2 remake and 3 remake.
Yeah, I would say
just make a brand new story using that.
Soak it up. Go with that style, because that seems.
I just don't know. Like you said, I don't know. You know, it annoys me. It's a bit like, you know, and like when I saw the Advance Wars announcement, and I was just like, holy fucking shit, Advance Wars, let's fucking go! I was so hyped. And then when I saw it as a remake, I'm like, you motherfuckers, we ain't had the new Advance Wars since the DS. You here created a new engine and stuff, yeah, trying to bring Advance Wars back. You just spend all this time on fucking remakes and just old ideas. You know, the DS had 2 brand new Advance Wars. Where's the effort to just making a new fucking story?
I don't think it's an issue. But here's the thing. I don't think
who's it for? Who are you gonna recapture with the original games?
I don't think the issue is effort. I think the issue is confidence. I don't think they have the confidence in Advance Wars to put that money into a new game. I don't think it's the same thing.
Nintendo's not doing it. They're handing it to somebody else.
I don't want to hear not having any confidence.
I feel the Advance Wars and Italian Wars series, I think they're always well received.
It's fucking
confidence.
Nuts. Confidence when you.
I think they don't have the confidence in that IP. That's what I like. Let me test the waters with a remake first.
Confidence. They release fucking WarioWare. They fucking, you know, they release all these fucking games.
Same company that out of the blue put out fucking Kid Icarus Uprising on 3DS. They don't have the confidence to make a sequel to a franchise they haven't touched in, you know, a decade, 2 decades.
I'd be very interested to see who pushed that idea. Was that Way Forward or was that Nintendo? Remember, Way Forward is the one making the game.
What are you talking about? On Advance Wars.
Yeah,
the idea of putting out.
Was that Way Forward? Like, hey, we kind of want to.
I think behind the scenes we've quickly learned that a lot of developers approach Nintendo with concept arts, with ideas to say, we want to make this game off your IP, please let us do it. That's how Rabbids happened. Yeah, right. That's how Nintendo did it for Ubisoft. The guy, what's his name?
Oh fuck, I forget the guy's dude's name.
God damn it.
Guy McTears.
Yeah.
God damn it. Anyway, we know who we're talking about, but he's the one who designed all the models and stuff. And when he went to Nintendo and said, I got this idea, and they were like, did you steal our assets? That shit looks too good. You say, how did you make Mario look so good? Did you steal our assets? Because Nintendo were very, you know, funky about how Mario looks. Mario has to look a certain fucking way. And really only they know how to do it. But you had this dude to come up who's loved Mario all his life and said, look what I fucking done. I like this idea of the game. What do you think? And they went, holy shit, let's do it. And people, you know, I think, Mercury Steam approached them before about Metroid.
Yeah, it was
about Metroid, yeah.
On that early old concept art. That got turned down then, but hey, look, they're here now.
Well, I think that was very much like, oh, you're interested. We'll let you handle the remake and see what happens from it. And they're like, all right.
Well, they did Batman before that Batman game on 3DS, and I thought that was
I didn't play that.
A precursor as well. I thought that was a precursor as far as Metroidvania bullshit.
Well, I guess, in that sense,
It makes him that every time.
You know, Retro.
Did you see that clip that I shared from the Switch Watch guy? And he said the same exact thing. He's like, I'm not calling it that. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway.
Retro's sitting here, you know, criticizing Resident Evil 4, and he's gonna watch the movie and say it's the best thing ever. When I guess it's on POV already, and
is it?
Yeah. What was the budget of that movie? Like $8 million. It was something ridiculously low. It was like I want to say.
Tell by looking at that shit.
I want to say it was like 20 million.
The budget of $8 million is low. You have people making great fucking movies with like 100.
That is, I mean,
can I just back up Ayers a second where he says,
but I want to see a competent movie being made with that budget, because I think you could still make some really good movies, $10 to $20 million, and you know a lot of these movies have we got to spend $150 million. You don't got to do that shit. Like you can still make some really competent stuff with some creative people. You know,
exactly,
some creative people behind the camera, and you can do it. So.
All I was going to say was, as said in the comments, you know, isn't Resident Evil 4 the blueprint for the last 20 years of Sony's big first party, lineup and stuff. But you could joke about it a little, but even Resi 4, just even our over the shoulder, just to the side, Batman, Dead Space, fucking most of the third person shooters you could think of. God of War, the recent one, all that stuff.
Right there.
Yeah, all that shit
that is a grandfather game.
That's another template game, and everyone copied that template.
It was almost Metroid Prime, if you remember. That would have gave us the over-the-shoulder third-person thing.
That's true.
But they changed it to first person.
It's not. I mean, it's a good blueprint. The problem is that people didn't know how to do anything else out of it. For a while, right. we kept getting.
Some people want to argue that the original Dead Space is better than Resi 4. There's plenty of merits for it. I don't personally think so, but Dead Space is still fucking phenomenal game.
I put Dead Space ahead of any Resident Evil game.
Over Resi 4?
Wow,
I won't argue with you. It's all personal preference. But
I played through that 3 times.
No, in terms of atmosphere, retro, if you want to...
I've never played the
Dead Space, man.
Aren't they remaking those?
Dead Space
1.
Play Dead Space 2. Ignore the third game.
I always wanted to play them because whenever I saw them, I've seen other people play them and stuff. It always reminded me of like Event Horizon and that kind of stuff.
The Ishimura is one of the best video game environments ever. It's so fucking good. It's Ishimura. It's the oh my god, I can't remember the ship in Aliens. In Alien, the
Nostromo.
The Nostromo. Thank you. My brain just said, yeah, Jesus. The Nostromo is literally. Just so good.
I should be able to. I don't know. I played Dead Space 3 times, like nonstop. With a few breaks in between, all the way through. I just was totally sucked into that game, and I don't know if that subconsciously had an impact on my lack. I wouldn't say lack of enjoyment, but the fact that I didn't really feel like getting through Alien Isolation. I don't know. I just didn't have the same. I know it's a totally different genre of game, but I don't know. I just couldn't force myself to finish the game, and I don't know if that
much slower game.
I tried it 2 different times. I started over, and neither time did I get to where the xenomorph was chasing me, and I had to hide from it. I didn't make it that far.
So, you played Alien Isolation?
No, I have not.
It's on game. I mean, I could play it again. I got Game Pass again, so I could.
Lost Planet 3. I didn't bother playing it too. They changed it so much I didn't bother playing it.
Just like with Dead Space 3, it's like I never played that. You'd think after loving the first 2, but
I did touch that. After all that microtransaction shit they done with Dead Space 3, I said fuck off.
I was gonna say, Juice, was that a lack of interest or you just didn't care?
Which one? What?
For Dead Space 3.
I don't know. I just didn't like the direction they looked like they were taking it, and it was like a co-op thing, and I was like, oh, they're pulling a Resident Evil 5, so fuck that.
If go watch the What Happened video on Dead Space series, and you'll see the fuckery that EA was pulling with that team, man.
So it was EA's fault. Sounds about right.
Oh yeah,
then they fucking closed him down after that, I think.
Yeah.
Or they were gonna make that Star Wars game.
Yeah, I would say
Amy Hennig.
Visceral Games, wasn't it? And then and now they're doing a Dead Space 1 remake with a different developer, aren't they? Sons of bitches, man.
I was gonna say, wasn't it the 360 PS3 generation? That was the generation we lost the most amount of studios, right?
Oh yeah, we lost a ton of studios that generation.
So many. I think that's one of the biggest industry purges we've ever seen.
Easily.
I think it's we know all the reasons, whether it's mostly it's money, cost of HD gaming.
Capcom's ass too, because they were chasing
for a lot of Japanese studios.
Capcom was on full bullshit in that generation.
Yeah, they were chasing
They were the worst. God, I hated that.
Konami
still got some good games though.
You could say Konami. That was Konami's last generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even Namco, effectively Last Ridge Racers.
You didn't like Bionic Commando Rearmed?
We got Tekken. Soul Calibur.
That's when they started bastardizing all their fucking IPs. Like, good God.
Actually, I take that back about Namco.
Remake, though.
Not Rearmed, my bad. You know what I'm talking about. Rearmed is...
Yeah, you mean the 3D one.
Yeah, the 3D one. Yeah, sorry.
With like his wife in his arms and shit. Like, man, what the fuck are you doing?
Isn't that the one we also got
The
that
big
Bomberman?
robotic ass arm and shit. It was.
Didn't we
terrible.
get that Bomberman reboot that was like gritty as
Oh, Bomberman!
And I was like, why would you do
No,
that?
it was called it was Bomberman, but they looked like they were in like almost like
they were like Halo costumes and shit. They were like,
yeah,
we
I
were
was
like,
say
what the
mech
fuck
suits or
is
something.
this?
I don't know what they
Like,
Did
what
the
are you
it was on the
doing?
360, wasn't
The
it?
7th gen we
all
lost.
gritty and realistic
Wasn't
and shit.
Factor 5 done during the 7th
Factor
gen?
5.
Yeah, it was.
Five died in
Well,
Sony's hands. Yeah.
Yeah, they died because of the glare and shit.
I
That
say Factor
glare
5
killed
died.
them.
Factor 5 are actually back. They have reformed and they're putting together their new game. They're just being very quiet on it. So
I don't know
they've
what
got
it was.
most of their older guys back. But
I don't know if there's any
we have to-
documentaries about Lair or what went wrong there.
Oh, there is.
I never played it.
Yeah.
Never even
What
really
went
seen it.
wrong with Leia was
Yeah.
was budget, was time. They were pushed very hard to get it out early, and also at the time then the Wii was really kicking off.
Gyro
And
controls.
last minute they had to put in
Forcing
the
the
gyro
fucking
controls.
6-axis bullshit.
6 axis, which just doesn't work with the PlayStation controller in your hands. 'Cause you can't turn, you can't fly a dragon, fucking bending your hands like that.
Yeah.
And stuff. But they later patched in normal controls later on, but the damage was already done by then.
It was already done. Yeah.
Too late.
That's
But that game has so much promise, and I got it.
Yeah, it did have a lot of
It had so much promise. It looks stunning. Soldiers running on the floor, and it's one of those first HD games you were like, "Fuck, man, this is incredible."
Imagine
next
just a
generation
good
right
game
here.
where you play as a dragon. That would be awesome.
Hey, funny man.
It's funny because they force motion controls, like Matthew says, but now you can't even fucking get them. Like they had some press had a hands-off preview of Horizon Forbidden West where they could just watch somebody play it, in detail. And one of the guys asked, "Well, did they talk about the DualSense support?" And no, and she was like, "Well, they were keeping stuff close to the vest." Well, that's not the kind of stuff you keep close to the vest. I'm like,
No.
If they were gonna add some gyro aiming or something, they would have said it, unless they're still thinking about it. But
remember how much Sony messed up with that control? They didn't even have Rumble in it at the beginning. It was like, "Where's that Rumble, man?"
Yeah, they didn't have Rumble.
You don't need Rumble. What do you need Rumble for? They was like, "Give us that Rumble."
Yeah, it was like telling people you don't need that shit. Like, what?
That pad was garbage, man. Absolute fucking.
And now they just, you have the controller. Just have the
That
option
horrible
for
controller.
gyro aim. Don't force it on anybody, but have it the option. Like, I don't understand why third parties don't do it. I don't know why Sony don't do it.
I don't think they have any investment in that.
Last of Us Part 2 added it, but it's not the best implementation because when you aim up, you still got to steer it like a steering wheel. You can't do like Nintendo does, where if you're aiming up, then you can go like this to turn. Whereas on Last of Us, you have to, because they're thinking you're playing it with the controller, facing normal, and you go like that to look left and right. Well, when you turn it like this, I don't want to turn it like a steering wheel to aim to the left. It makes no sense, and you just can't do it. Yeah, scale bound.
But meanwhile, PSVR.
We don't talk about that.
Fuck. It doesn't make any sense.
Like Doom Eternal, they added gyro aiming to the Switch version, but they won't add it to the PS5 version. Like
because Nintendo fans are like the only ones who seem to care about.
But one of my most viewed videos, which we went over like 2 weeks ago or whatever, was that using a DualShock 4 with Doom on PC. Like people loved that. Like a bunch of people watched that video.
I guess because Nintendo fans are more known to give a shit about it.
It's not like build your audience. Build the audience.
Oh, yeah, how about you make your fans give a shit about it? How about that? Tell people what they should.
Instead of having to do that slowdown.
They're making enough money putting out the same kind of game with different main characters, right? They don't give a fuck.
Unless
they used to tell people what they should like, and
now they have to force you to use this focus ability in all their games, so you can slow down time, so you can actually precision aim. Like Days Gone, Horizon. What else?
I was gonna ask, is that whole slowdown?
I think Ghost of Tsushima does it. It's like just give me gyro aiming, and you don't need to slow down time to aim.
I was gonna say, what game would be the pioneer of that shit? The fucking what game is
where you hit a button to slow down so you can get precise aiming on people?
It's like a slowdown. It's like bullet time.
The Max Payne.
Max Payne was more of just a visual thing than actually being able to precisely aim. But I don't remember.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was part of the gameplay.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You get your ass handed to you if you didn't do that slowdown shit. So
that's all you have to bloody do is Matrix even, man. You just fucking
But I think I'd be curious what's the first game to use it in where it's just ability so you can just like get a headshot. I know Call of Duty does it automatically during some of their cinematic stuff in the single player back in the day.
I almost want to argue it's Bayonetta.
I'm just a sucker for that slow motion shit, man. And to be fair, Breath of the Wild does have it too, but it's just really cool. If you like backflip
in the
off
air,
your horse and you do it like in the rain, you have like the slow motion rain around you and shit. I just love that stuff.
Yeah, that's more of like a. To me, that always felt like a Bayonetta.
It's not slow motion rain. That's just game slowing down because can't handle it.
It's weird though because
it's chugging at 12 frames per second.
I think Horizon does that too.
It goes. Everything goes in super slow motion.
I think I reckon it's Max Payne because even after all that,
I would say Max Payne.
The games like Dead to Rights or Jet Li's Rise to Honor, they were all they came out. They were all copying the Max Payne formula of dive in slow motion. And what was the other game I got on the 360? John Woo, Stranglehold.
Stranglehold, yeah.
With Chow Yun-fat.
Chow Yun-fat, yeah.
I see some Sifu previews had come out, and that sounds like an interesting.
Oh, I can't wait for that game.
Type game.
I hope it. I want it to be good so bad.
Those are all.
I want it to be good so bad.
Yeah, it sounds like you're gonna have to really work at Sifu to get good at it, and like that's the whole idea.
I don't care about stuff like that. I mean, fucking hell, man. It's just you don't understand. I mean, I say you don't understand. I've loved kung fu movies all my life, right? And then when you think of video games and kung fu movies like kung fu games like that, we got hardly fuck all. And the ones that have tried it have messed up in some way. So this looks like the first one where it looks like it's traditional kung fu. It's almost Hong Kong cinema-like. You got multiple enemies. The environments look like you interact really
like
well
a
with them.
roguelike, because you die and you resurrect and you learn.
And you get older and older, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And see how long you can go for.
It seems like it's really about the fight. Like they spend a lot of detail on like the moves and stuff that makes that shit.
As long as
you can obviously see it's inspired a bit more by modern stuff like Old Boy and John Wick even and stuff like that. So
it'll be interesting. There's some promising games for next year. So yeah, this is the last podcast of 2021. It's crazy, man. This year went by, super fast. And honestly, I played 6 games from this year. Well, I've beaten or played enough to consider, them as my Game of the Year contenders. And I'm going to start Psychonauts probably tomorrow or this week.
The first one or the second one?
2, just to see if maybe I'll squeeze another game in. But next year seems way more full for games. So,
I got a game at the end of next month.
Bigger titles.
A lot of big titles.
It's actually, I thought
this year was really good for gaming.
Well, I haven't completed that many 2021 games released in 2021, but when I actually sat down and made a list of stuff, I completed a lot of games that released maybe like 2020 or 2019, and I've caught up on a lot of stuff. So I have actually completed quite a few games, more than I thought I did.
Now with Uncharted, I've finished like 8 non-2021 games this year. So
yeah, I did more.
I was actually debating
games and new games.
I was actually going to ask you guys how you feel about doing just the best games we played, top 5 games we played in 2021. Instead of like
achieve my standing goal sitting on my ass. What the fuck, Apple Watch? I'm sitting on my ass. I'm not standing right.
It would be interesting to do a best, like just a top 5 games we played in 2021 instead of a top games of 2021. Like they have to have released in 2021, because that would make my list way more interesting if I.
Well, same.
And other people have had garbage lists in the past, and this year it's just your turn, man.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I remember like a couple of years ago, Terrell had like fucking DLC on
Pokemon
there.
DLC.
I
didn't have a lot.
He had to count Dragon Quest 11 2 years later.
I completed the Pokemon game this year. You know what I'm saying? That's what I done.
Plus, I really want to see.
I don't have a Pokemon game here this year.
I also really want to see how Robert's gonna wing his list of this year.
I think honestly, I'm just gonna tell him to sit it out. I'm gonna tell him to sit this one out because he only played like a few games for this year, and a couple of them were just like, you're not gonna put him on your list. Come on. Just save it. He needs to make his own. He needs to make his own when he finishes. Honestly, he needs to make his 2020 best of 2020 video because I think
he's still gonna make that in 2022.
He should have just picked that battle better because it was not worth it.
So Robert, if you're listening, I think you just do your 2020 video, and then next year do your 2021. You're gonna just be further and further away from us as far as the games
you
you're
got these
playing.
delusions of
it's not
I'm gonna play all these games. You ain't gonna be a player of the game, man. You can't even get on the podcast because you have terrible time management.
He plays a ton though. He's playing a ton.
See that damn thing where he sat back and like,
I salute all his efforts, but some of his efforts are in the wrong place, right? You know.
He's
need the quality
like
control.
40, 50 games.
Quality control though.
He's blown us out of the water in terms of playing games.
He's playing fucking Perfect Dark Zero instead of whatever great game came out this year.
The list gives what the list gives, man. Like,
oh god.
So anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next year. Who knows what the year will hold, but we know we got some good games slated. So and then the Game of the Year podcast will probably be the following week. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
What the fuck is that?